Right, welcome back, and let's get started. Right, skip. Brand.
Sensei.
All right, skip. Nope, nope. Right, there was a white-haired girl in my dream too. I was a middle-aged literature teacher. No, an adjunct teacher. Skip. Okay, this is a new line. And she's, I guess, talking a little bit more. So as we go through the stories, Yonagi's is capable of articulating a little bit more. The white-haired girl murmurs something, but I can't quite make it out. Right, skip.
Oishii.
Oh, nice. She's now making a remark about like the porridge. The white-haired girl mutters in a soft tone. I hear an electronic sound and turn my gaze towards its source. My eyes are met with a little snowman-shaped robot floating next to the girl. Good.
夢の中のあなたは有島薫45歳。2016年神奈川県夢見市で秀英学園附属に勤務している。既婚。妻は有島翔子。夫婦仲は冷え切っていて最低限の会話しかない。
Damn, cold and dead. Holy shit.
有島薫の大学時代の先輩だった畑野修法の娘が自身の受け持つクラスにいることを知り、有島薫はその娘畑野凛に対して恋心を募らせるようになる。
With that, Izuma gets up. I follow her lead. Yonagi watches us and then does the same. You coming? She nods and leaves her seat.
生活に必要となる設備は基本的に揃っている。浴室もあるし、簡易的なレクリエーション室もある。
So seriously, when they're in this corridor, why are they floating like this, man? I don't have an impression that they're in space or something like that. So like, I'm really wondering why they're floating like that. I see. So that's what we get in exchange for not being able to go outside. Izuma walks at a brisk, soundless pace, while the little robot floats after her. I walk behind them, with Yonagi trailing behind me. I can hear her bare feet flapping against the floor. Can we even see the outside?
屋上がある。
I'd like to see that.
わかりました。
The elevator door opens in front of us. A cool air blows onto our faces as it does. When I move to step outside, Yonagi stops me, pulling on my sleeve. You don't want to go? She shakes her head. She lets out a small cough. Right. The air outside is pretty dusty. That's how it's always been in underground Shinjuku. The air is cleaner indoors.
中で待ってますか？
Yonagi languidly returns to Izumo and bobs her head.
リープ君、ヨナギと一緒に。
Izumo and I go out onto the rooftop while Yonagi and Lee-kun stay behind. Yonagi stares at me until the elevator doors close.
ヨナギはこの場所があまり好きではないようです。
Seems not. Is it okay to leave her alone?
リープ君が一緒ですが。
Huh. Yeah. Right.
施設内はすべて常時監視しています。心配はありません。
So, she doesn't need Likun, does she?
念のため。
In case of what? Izuma simply nods and starts walking. I follow after her. Alright. I get it. I think I have some degree of knowledge about the world. It seems like I'm in a state of total amnesia.
その通りです。ただ人工的にその状態になっているので似て非なる状況ではあります。
Will this heal naturally?
記憶が戻ればわかります。
I see. I look up at the round window of the sky once again. Thanks. Let's head back.
はい。
Where did Yonagi go?
レクリエーションルームにいます。
The what?
こっちです。
Alright, it's the first time we're going there. The room isn't Izumi is wait. The room Izumi guides me is filled with children's toys and board games. And in the middle of it is Yonagi. In the middle of it, Yonagi is a picture book.
みたいですね。
I slowly approach her. She looks up at me as I come closer. You're reading the picture book.
そう。
Is it fun? She nods. Yonagi's attention returns to the book and she flips a page. What kind of story is it?
絵
Oh?
本に集中しているみたいですね。
It's just like a kid. I get up and look back at Izuma. Can you show me around the rest of the place? She nods dutifully in response.
浴場に案内します。
That room turned out to be a simple shower room with an attached changing room. I sit down on the bed. This place is so strange. Does that Yonagi girl have some kind of impediment? There's a disparity between the impression she gives out and her actions that I can't quite reconcile. Mentally, she seems really young. There are two beds in the room and a single basin. Above the basin, a single mirror is fixed to the wall. I stand in front of it and take a good look at myself. Alright, let's go.
はいと。
My eyes snap open. The sound was unfamiliar and unexpected. Kaito. I see. That's my name. Still dazed in the dark, I turn to Yonagi. Did she call my name? No, must have been my imagination. I stare at the ceiling again, then close my eyes. When I do, I see an after image of Yonagi's peaceful sleeping visage. The sound of her breathing reaches my ears together, the soft buzz of the air conditioner. For some reason, I find this strangely comforting, and soon my consciousness starts to slip again to that dream. I hear someone call me from behind and turn to face them.
有島くんは本が好きなのね。
I suppose I don't hate them.
私も好き。それ何読んでるの？
A novel.
面白い？
Yeah, I like this person's writing. I wouldn't call it interesting though.
ふーん。
Atana exhales a soft breath as she looks at the novel I'm holding.
読み終わったら貸してくれる？
Huh? She's staring into my eyes. Sure thing. You can have it. I put the novel down on the table. She opens her eyes wide.
いいの？
I've read it a bunch of times. Take it. She bashfully picks it up.
ありがとう。
I nod.
有島くんも書きたいんでしょ？
What?
書けるよ。
I stare at her and shake my head. She quirks a wide, sly smile.
書きたいくせに。書けると思ってるくせに。
No, it didn't work. When I tried, all I wrote was trash. Reading other people's prose isn't enough to teach you how to string together your own sentences. I couldn't write.
書けなかったんじゃない。書かなかったんでしょ?
Atana looks up at the source of the voice. It's my wife, standing between us. Oh, Jesus Christ, this dream. You can obviously tell he's in a dream sequence, but like, holy shit.
書かないうちに本当に書けなくなったんでしょ? よかったわね。書けなくなれて。あなたのせいじゃないもんね。時間のせいよね。
Rin stares at my wife. Don't say that in front of the students. My wife laughs, contempt, disdain seeping into the sound. Rin's eyes are locked on her, her expression unchanged. My wife disappears. She's nowhere to be seen anymore. Rin stares at the spot where she was for a long moment. I turn my gaze back to her. She does the same, and we stare at each other in silence. I had a dream about Rin. I was a student, and I was sitting right in front of her. If we met under different circumstances, maybe that's the kind of way we could have interacted. Alright, man. Whatever you say. When my wife appeared, I went back to being middle-aged. I went back to who I am. Then my wife disappeared, leaving me and Rin alone. It was a weird dream for sure. I wish I didn't wake up. I look at the wall clock. Monday morning, 5 a.m. I let out a tired sigh. It's the start of a new week. How long was my wife's trip to Osaka again? I reach out for my phone to ask her, then stop. The dream from just now flashes through my head. Our lives couldn't be more separate right now. There's no need to ask. It doesn't matter. I still feel sluggish. Probably because I fell asleep in front of my PC on Saturday. It's a good day my wife wasn't around this weekend. Thanks to that, I was able to focus on writing all weekend long. If I got tired of writing in my room, I could move into the living room, and wherever I got stuck, I could pace around the house, one word at a time. My first novel in years is taking shape. I guess I do still like writing after all. Knowing that makes my heart feel a bit lighter. I get up and stretch my limbs out. I didn't get much sleep over the weekend, so I'm fatigued. Yet somehow, I still feel lighter.
Kuma, すごくね?
I turned to Watanabe. Seeing his concerned look, I let out a little snort. Yeah, I suppose it does look pretty bad. The bags under my eyes don't lie, and I'm no spring chicken anymore. I was awake all night through the weekend, so it's obviously taking its toll. From the way he's frowning, I imagine my laughter isn't serving to reassure him.
大丈夫? なんかやべえ薬でもやった?
Just this one. I say, raising my cig.
本当? なんか取り憑かれてるみたいに見えるんだけど.
You could say I am. It's been 3 days since I started the draft. I had 20 years of pent-up drive that I had to get out of my system. Even if I'm not talented, and it's not particularly good, I still need to write. And I gotta admit, it feels damn good. The more clearly I delineated the difference between me and Shuha, the more the haze inside my mind seemed to be clear. I don't need to write hundreds of pages. For now, I simply decided to write for this 1 week.
ねえ、あとさ、この前一緒に飲みに行った時さ、ほら、あの子の話したじゃん。2年1組の畑野さん。
Oh yeah.
一緒に飯食ってたんだって。学食で。
Yeah, I guess we did. What? You saw us? Could have said hi.
いや、見てはないんだけどさ。
Huh?
ねえ、有島先生ね、ここ学校よ。あのキッズたちの関心事第1位なんだと思う?
Yes, this guy's not beating the allegations anytime soon. Their midterms?
ばっかじゃないの?
He shouts so loud that the flimsy walls of the smoking room tremble.
恋だよ、異性だよ、噂話、スキャンダルだよ。何、既婚者になるとそんなことも忘れちゃうの？
I don't really think about that stuff. Bro, you're a teacher. Not only that. Sorry. Teacher shouldn't even be the first thing I thought about. It's the age gap, man. He's basically... He's close to the grounds, man. To the allegations. Holy shit.
さ、
Watanabe heaves an exasperated sigh.
言ったでしょ。畑野凛は目立ってるって、嫉妬を集めてるって。その畑野凛が学食の真ん中で男性教諭と飯食ってて目立たないと思ったの？逆に。
Maybe if it was you. I'm turning 45 this year.
そういうのあんま関係ないんだよな。まあ、あんま悪目立ちしない方がいいと思うよ。苦手でしょ、そういうの。有島先生にそんな気がないのは俺も分かってるけどさ。
I'm unable to respond straight away. This guy's upping the allegations, man.
ないよね。
Don't be stupid.
だよね。
I finished my afternoon lessons and the usual paperwork that comes with the job. Have a good evening, everyone. The teacher at the desk beside mine looks up and nods in acknowledgement. Instead of going to the library, I head straight home. The sky is still light. How many years has it been since I went home this early? I glance at the library from a distance. I wonder if Rin's reading another one of her dad's books today. I'll try to keep myself from talking to her for a while, at least until I finish writing this. I do feel a little disappointed that I won't be spending time with her. Holy shit, there we go. Then I remember the dream I had last night. If we were both students, we might have gone to the library together. We'd talk about our favorite books, and maybe a friendship would blossom. But the fact remains that our positions are completely different. She's a student, and I'm a part-time teacher. Our only points of slight contact are in the library and classroom. It's too frail to call it a bond. I turn my back on the library and head home. I make it back before the sun dips over the horizon. Stepping through the front door, I notice my wife's shoes in the entryway. Oh no, no, no! This pattern! I've seen this pattern so many times. This better not be it, man. This better not be it. Ah, shit! Shit! Alright, here we go, guys. Fuck! And a pair of male shoes that I don't recognize. They're sneakers. I don't own shoes like these. I look down at the pair of shoes for a while, and I hear a door at the living room open and raise my head. My wife is peering out from behind it.
早くない？
Well, you know what? Their marriage is so dead, he probably doesn't even care at this point, I guess. I mean, remember his conversation with Watanabe? What? Yeah.
どうしたの？
Nothing.
そう。
I'm actually concerned about the concern. You know, it's unnatural. The feeling is unnatural. You know what's going on. Averting her eyes from me, she falls silent. I think she's trying to think of what to say. The collar of her blouse is clearly out of place. Why do I notice this? Not like we care about each other. I curse my powers of observation. Unsurprisingly enough, she says nothing as her eyes wander about aimlessly. So, it was until today, huh? She turns to me again.
何が？
Your work trip. It's not a work trip! Oh! She nods and
今
responds.
担当してる作家さんにちょっと寄ってもらってたの。すぐ出るから。
That's what they all say, man. That's what they all say. It's just for work, man. I see.
悪いわね。
Fine. Obviously, the guy knows. The guy knows, man. I take off my shoes and go upstairs. Entering my room, I close the door behind me. I let my bag fall to the floor. The sounds of people drip up the stairs. The clink of cups against wood. Did she make coffee for him? Have I ever drank coffee made by her in this house? Then I hear the sound of water running. Maybe they're washing the cups. The sound continues for a while. Obviously, it's a trope to let the water run when doing something. After it stops, I hear the door of the living room open. 2 sets of footsteps walk toward the front door. In the end, it's over without me ever even seeing what the man looks like. I hear the door open and close, and then silence. I heave a huge sigh. It's quiet. I walk to my desk by the window and take a seat. Leaning back in the chair, I stare up at the ceiling. I'm not even disappointed at this point. Our relationship has gone cold and dead. I'm not about to try and press my idea of fidelity onto her. Still, my chest feels prickly. I don't understand this feeling. Do I have some kind of lingering attachment to her? She said she's in charge of a young writer. I understand the enthusiasm of a budding novelist. Maybe it stirred a woman inside of her, a woman of flesh and desire. Nah. She's always been that woman. Just because she doesn't show that side of herself to me doesn't make it any less real. I had to laugh at myself. In the end, we're very alike. At some point, living together in this house, we both withered away. And with a coincidental timing, we've been blessed with a small sprout of youth that we're now clinging to. Okay, fine. I totally understand. I totally understand. Okay, it kind of makes sense. The mere fact that the dude is having like dreams about like a girl in school. Well, like, you know, there's no, you know, they're both fucked. Basically, they're both fucked. I don't blame or condemn her. I understand how she feels. I'm the same. Bored to death of everyday life, accepting it out of sheer laziness, being disgusted with and feeling pity for yourself. Impatience and resignation become your default state of mind. I know that very well. I won't point the finger, but I won't forgive either. I want to escape this inexorably dull slide toward that too. I'm not living like this because I like it. Time keeps marching on, and no matter what I do, and the only resistance I can put up is... I turn on the laptop, input my password, and smash the enter key for more force than needed. I'll change the everyday routine the only way I know how, by writing. I open the draft file and begin typing away. After a while, I settle into a comfortable rhythm. The prickly feeling in my chest goes away. I just focus on sentences taking form in my mind. By the times my eyes get tired and tear them away from the screen, it's already dark outside. I look at the clock. It's after 10 p.m. I pinch the bridge of my nose. After easing some tension with that, I stand up and stretch. I realize that my mouth feels dry. When I go down to the living room, I find my wife at the table reading something. She raises her face to look at me. I give her a small nod and head to the kitchen. As I walk past the dining table, I glance at the novel she's reading. It's a gallery proof. Probably the work of that young writer who was here earlier. I pick up the kettle and set some water to boil. Wait, I got distracted for a little bit. Wants a coffee? He looks up and stares at me for a moment.
そうね。お願い。
I nod and put enough water for 2 cups in the kettle and turn it on. I set the drip coffee bags in the cups and wait for the water to boil. While I wait, I lean back against the kitchen counter and stare at her. Her long bangs brush against her mouth. Ears are showing for both of us. There are faint laugh lines forming around her mouth, and there are deep crow feet carved into the corner of her eyes. Despite this, I still think she's a beautiful woman. I don't really think I can make a calm assessment of her at this point, but I'm certain that she's more valuable than I am in the dating market. Losing her gaze on her, she looks my way. Nothing really. I was just wondering what you're reading.
Get up.
She leans back in her chair. Is it well written?
そうね。そう思う。若い読者に受けるんじゃない？
I nod.
読みたいの？
Nah, I don't think I have any useful opinions to offer. Is it by the writer who was here earlier?
そうね。
Her eyes are fixed on the manuscript. I'm writing now too. If I tell her that, would it change anything? Would she look at my draft with the same attention she's giving to the one in front of her? The water boils. I pour the water evenly between the two cups. After putting the kettle back in its place, I grab the steaming cups. I hand one of them to my wife. She takes it without a word and turns once again to the paper in her hand. It's covered in scribbles of red pen. The line edits and notes of a professional editor. She takes a sip of coffee and focuses on reading. I'm writing too. Oh, there's a U-tip. I'll probably do this later. I'll probably do this later.
Eh?
She looks up at me. I'm writing a novel.
なんで？
Oh no, I felt that nanda, man. I felt that, man. I wanted to write. She looks up at me, and an awkward silence taking form.
今日？急に？
I shake my head. I started at the weekend. She nods slowly. Would you read it? Oh no. I don't like that sound, man. She bites back a laugh. With a smile, from the little outburst still on her face, she looks up at me.
今さら？10年遅くない？それとも当てつけのつもり？あなたに私を責める権利があるの？
Damn, that line.
頑張って。
Not even worth her time. Oh shit, man. God damn it, man. I'm not and leave the living room with my coffee in hand. I knew this would happen. I just wanted to tell her that she's not the only one disillusioned and tired of this life. I'm not happy with the way I am right now either. That's why I'm trying to change. I go back to my room and return to working on my draft. That is quick. That is really quick. I was expecting like it kind of made me realize that the third story is way longer compared to at least the prologue is. Anyway, let's skip.
Kaito.
I get up. Alright, skip. Alright, let's go. What's an adjunct teacher? What's an adjunct teacher?
端的に言うと、授業のみを行う専業的職業です。通常の教師のように担任する学級を持ったり、課外活動の指導には当たりません。雇用形式も正社員登用ではないことがほとんどなので、副業も認められます。
Side jobs, okay. Arishima may still be harboring hopes of becoming a novelist someday. Maybe that's why he chose such an arrangement for his employment. I get the feeling that is his case. It's also a good choice in that it allows him to keep a distance from his students. So, it's a term for the education system from long ago.
はい。
What's a pub? I heard a place called Pub in the dream. What was that about?
昔の人たちには自宅の外で集まり、食事を共にする文化がありました。
Where are you saying everyone just eats at home nowadays in their future? What the fuck?
当時は貨幣というものが流通していて、人々は物品やサービスを間接的に交換していました。
Oh, they're in the future that they don't need cash. Got it. I feel my eyes widen in incredulous surprise. Why go through so much trouble?
当時は今よりずっと人口が多かった。物々交換よりも貨幣を通した間接的交換の方が都合が良かった。
Wait, are they bartering nowadays? What the hell?
その貨幣を使って主に酒類と食事の提供を同時に受ける場が居酒屋と呼ばれていました。
And alcohol was available to any adult. Nods.
20歳以上であれば
Pretty different from Ramadan.
飲酒年齢が引き下げられたのは今の物々交換経済に戻った後のことです。
I see. What the hell happened in the future, man? I don't get it. Yep. When I stand up, Yanagi does the same. You're coming with me?
うん
She shakes her head.
あそこはやだ
I see.
遊ぼ
Play? The boss her head. I look between Yanagi and Izumo. Both of them are staring straight at me.
一緒に遊ぼ
Yanagi stares into my eyes. I turn to Izumo and think for a second. Is that okay? She nods.
ぜひ
Okay. Yanagi, let's play. She nods and leaves her seat. I follow her out of the dining room. Once we arrive at the recreation room, Yanagi walks up to the bookshelf, takes out a picture book, and goes to sit down on the floor. A picture book? Yanagi nods. Let's see. The title on the cover is Yamanashi. Looks pretty old. I read the author's name. Miyazawa Kenji. Born in 1896. Almost 3 centuries ago. That is, if my memory loss perception is right. It's amazing how this stood the test of time.
読む 読んで
Me? She nods. I sit next to her and look at the pages. Here are 2 blue magic lantern slides, projecting the bottom of a small mountain stream. 2 tiny young crabs are playing at the bottom of the blue brook.
カニって何
Kani. Kani. Well, they're animals that live in the water. I haven't actually seen any though.
生き物
Yeah, these one. See? These 2 little animals. I say, pointing at the bright little creatures depicted in the book. Clambon laugh. Clambon's laughter went pop pop. Clambon jumped and laughed. Yanagi pulls on my sleeve.
クラムボンって何
Good question. I've never seen a crab in my life. And as far as I can tell from the picture, maybe it's this bubbly thing.
ブクブク
Buka buka. Foam?
泡
Yeah,
クラムボンは泡
maybe. What if I'm wrong? It's not like I have anything else to go on though. Can I keep reading?
うん
Flambon laughter went pop pop. The ceiling and the sides are like dark blue, impenetrable steel walls. Dark bubbles flow along the smooth running ceiling. And this is the end of the Magic Lantern slide.
うん
The end. Did you like it? Yanagi
お
nods.
魚がかわいそうだった
Yeah, poor thing.
次これ
Yeah. Up next is The Little Mermaid. More water stuff. And it's a tragic story too.
読んで読んで
Okay, you're the boss. Huh? Yanagi. After reading 4 books to her, she begins to rub at her eyes.
眠い
Oh.
お疲れ様でした
Ah, good timing. You're here. Yanagi's.
はい大丈夫です
Izumo quickly grabs a blanket from a nearby rack and covers Yanagi with it. Izumo stares at Yanagi. I follow her gaze and look at Yanagi's sleeping face as well. The corners of her mouth are curled into a placid smile. She's smiling?
はい
Izumo keeps staring at her face as she gently strokes her head.
カイトも好きな時間に寝てください
Okay. Now that she mentions it, I'm quite drowsy. I'm a bit sleepy. Yeah, I'll go back to my bed.
はい
I turn my back on Yanagi, Izumo, Ulep-kun. As I'm about to go out the door, I look back at the recreation room. Izumo.
何ですか？
Good night. Oyasumi. I get the feeling that my comment perplexes her somehow. Turning back to the corridor, I leave the room.
おやすみなさい。
I hear a faint response from behind the now closed door. I walk back to my room feeling strangely calm. I have no idea what this experiment is for, but maybe it isn't such a bad idea to cooperate. Such are the thoughts that cross my mind as I yawn on my way back to the bed. I lean back against the wall of the smoking room and close my eyes. I slowly take a drag on my cigarette and exhale. I'm tired. My eyelids feel heavy. It's been 2 weeks since I started writing. I completed the first draft this morning. In the end, it took twice as long as I expected. Yesterday, I wrote through the night. I'm gonna take a nap, but by the time I finished it, it was already time to leave for work. I haven't slept well these last few weeks, but I finished the first draft. It's been years since I focused on writing like this. As I lean there, the door opens and someone comes in. I struggle to open my eyes and look toward the entrance. Hey. With his hand still on the sliding door, Watanabe stares at me. What is it?
入っていいの？
Sure. Watanabe sits next to me, pulls his packet of cigarettes out of his pocket, and pops one into his mouth. Whoa, you brought your own? You bought your own?
いや、いつも持ってはいるんだけどさ。
Instead of making a snappy comeback, I simply exhale a lungful of smoke.
有島先生、なんか最近話しかけづらいんだもん。タバコちょうだいとか頼まない方がいいのかなって。
The comment makes me laugh out loud.
なんだよ。
It's kind of funny to see you being so thoughtful.
あのね、意外に俺みたいなタイプって気遣いなのよ。わかる？じゃあやっぱ一本ちょうだい。
Chuckling, I held out a cig for him. He takes it, lights it, and looks a little more at ease by the time he huffs out the first puff of smoke. I was writing a novel. He looks at me, eyes wide open in surprise.
小説？あ、そうなの。
Every day for the last 2 weeks.
そうだったの。
A nod.
それでずっと難しい顔してたの。
Apparently.
いやいや、そうだから。話しかけても上の空だったんだから。
I finished the first draft. Watanabe stares at me curiously.
よかったね。
That doesn't mean it's complete yet.
そうじゃなくてさ。
I turn to him again.
また書く気になれたんでしょ？好きなことした方がいいじゃんね。
I regard him in silence.
だって好きなんでしょ？本。
Yeah, I do. I do love them.
どうすんの？その書いたやつ。なんかコンテスト的なのがあるんでしょ？本になるための。出すの？
Yeah, not that kind of novel. I think the act of writing is meaningful in and of itself. Know what I mean?
ふーん。
Smoke wafts from both our hands.
じゃあ誰にも読ませないの？せっかく書いたのに。奥さんとかさ。
I wonder about that. I stare vacantly at the rising smoke. Ren's face comes to mind, as does my wife's. Not as she looks right now, but how she looked back then, back when we first met. Classes are done for the day. I go to the library for the first time in a good while. I haven't talked to Rin since Watanabe's words of caution. Lately, the only space we've shared is the classroom. I find her sitting at the table by the window reading a book. She raises her face from it. When she notices me, she directs a little smile my way.
久しぶりですね。
I nod. Closes her book, the smile still on her face. I sit down opposite her. Another one of your dad's books. She shakes her head. She shows me the cover of the book. Naoya Shiga. Naoya. She nods.
先生が好きだって言っていた作家。
Didn't that conversation happen in a dream? What? Anyway.
昔のアルバムを持ってきてくれた時に。
Oh, right, yeah. So I did tell her about it in real life.
ずっと話そうと思っていたのに最近先生来なかったから。
I noticed several other books with the same author next to her.
先生は？
I came to talk to you.
うん。
Was this occupied?
はい。
She sets her book aside and neatly places her hands in her lap. You said you wanted to read what I write.
はい。
He answers with a nod. I wrote something. Would you read it?
はい。
I'd like you to read it and tell me. She tilts her head curiously and waits for me to continue. If Hatano Shuho and I are at all similar. And if we are, I'd like to know in what way. I want to hear from you. That's why I wrote it. I wrote about Hatano Shuho. Rin squints at me for a moment.
先生と父が似ている？
I stare at her in silence as she mutters the words to herself. I wrote the story about the ginkgo. Upon hearing this, she nods.
ああ、
Then she nods again and smiles.
先生だったんですね。
You already realize?
いいえ。
She quirks a smile and puts a finger to her lower lip, deep in thought.
なるほど。
Huh?
もう書いたんですよね。
I nod. I finished the first draft this morning. She nods back. I'll revise it a little more, and I'd like for you to give it a read through. She stares silently into my eyes. After a moment, she speaks up again.
いつ読ませてもらえるんですか？
I think for a moment. It's not a particularly long piece. Today is Friday. I can do some minimal tweaking to it over the weekend. Even if I had more time, I can't just keep fixing stuff endlessly. It's important to let go. I'll bring it first thing next week.
待っています。
Thank you.
こちらこそ。
I stand up.
もう帰るんですか？
I didn't sleep at all last night. My body's passing on the bell already. Time to pay with some sleep. He rewards my silly comment with a little giggle.
ゆっくり休んでくださいね。
I'll try. See you next week.
はい。久しぶりに話せてよかったです。さようなら。
I nod a farewell to her. He just went to the library to say that stuff, man. Just standing up makes my stomach feel like a piece of lead. My body feels really close to giving out. My legs seem to be made of jelly. I don't feel drowsy, but the fatigue is really piling on. I turn on my laptop and open my manuscripts file. The printer purrs as I print out the draft I finished this morning. After checking the first few pages to make sure there are no printing errors, I lay down on the bed. I cover my eyes with my arm and sigh. Then I take several slow, deep breaths. With each exhale, my consciousness slowly drifts. When I wake, the room is dark, and papers are all piled on the printer tray. I pick them up and head to my desk. Then I take a red pen from the pen holder. I begin reading from the first sentence. I use the red pen to delineate adjustments to the structure, wording, and punctuation. I love editing. It's much easier than writing. I can better grasp the shape and texture of my words. This is the image of Shuho, the idol that I have inside my mind. His outline is becoming clearer. I continue from the prologue where he takes his first step as a professional writer and progress into his life. It's rife with change. The protagonist is making a name for himself in the world of literature. After winning his rookie award, he pumps out hit after hit and receives the prestigious Akutagawa Prize for his third release. He marries. He sells his first 1,000,000 copies. He gets his first film adaptation. His media exposure increases exponentially. As his life changing rapidly, he was pulled, molded, and made to grow by it. From rags to riches, a tale as old as time. Despite having written this myself, I must say that I find Shuo's story to be a real page-turner. It's like it's pulling me in. I have no idea about his private life. Not really. I was able to write about it once I dipped into the fiction of territory of fiction. Reading this over, I realized once more. The path Shuho followed was the ideal I wanted for myself once upon a time. That desire for approval and recognition that I lost. The withered desire to be in the spotlight. Once upon a time, I had the same aspirations as him, but I gave up, whereas he kept up the fight. He fulfilled all those young desires. I wanted to live like he did. I wanted the constant swirl of interactions and experiences he had, a life where you could see and do it all. What did he see at the end? What thoughts crossed his mind at the edge of death? I can't imagine he had zero regrets. I'm not young or gullible enough to take persona he put up for the public at face value. I had a list of events of his life, and the impressions he left on his own flesh and blood Rin. I used those to piece together a picture of him and held it close to my heart. In my own way, I depicted the inner world of a person who became an idol and was elevated to prominence, a state of mind only those who fulfill their desires arrive at. I'm sure a lot of people would be interested in this. Here, I gave Shuho a human touch. I depicted the frustrating experience of a divorce, a latent distrust of women, the existence of a daughter named Rin. Despite his love for her, he dies without ever really knowing how to connect with his daughter. And what he saw at the brink of the life and death was the lost time with his family. It takes me until midnight to finish the first round of corrections. Now, I have to actually apply the changes and print again. I gather all the draft pages and place them in front of the laptop. I have over 100 sheets of A4 paper. They really use a lot of paper. Some pages are a sea of bright red. I have a lot of corrections to make. The first draft is really not in a state to be shown to anyone just yet. At this point, I still haven't managed to get the image in my mind fully out onto the paper. Hopefully, by the second draft, I'll have the composition in writing that can convey what I'm trying to tell to the reader. At least something good enough to get an impression of the structure from a third party. Writing a first draft is like holding your breath underwater. And the second is a little easier to push out. My concentration is a little off, but work goes as space. When I implemented about half the corrections, I take a break. I still have Saturday and Sunday to get this done. Then I can hand over the manuscript to Rin first thing Monday like I promised. I raise my face from the screen and stretch my neck. My bones make a satisfying popping noise. My mind feels awfully clear. Maybe all the time spent awake in the dead of night is affecting me. My internal clock is getting messed up. After a recent incident, my wife seems to feel even more awkward around me. So she's at home even less than before. And it won't get any better. We're like two complete strangers at this point. Still, right now, it suits me to be alone in the house most of the time. I decided to make myself a cup of coffee and keep working at it while longer in the living room. I'm roused by the sound of the living room door opening. It looks like it passed out on the sofa. Printed manuscripts are scattered about the table in front of it. I finished the rough revisions on Saturday, and I'm currently in the process of ironing out the little kinks. The sound of the door heralds my wife's return. Oh, you're back. She glances at the papers on the table.
できたの?
Yeah, kind of.
そう。
She stares at the manuscript for a while.
あなたの書きたいものを書いたんでしょ?
I think on the question, I suppose. I also thought maybe what I need to write right now.
人に読ませるのはやめておいた方がいいんじゃない?
She cuts me off. I simply look up at her in silence.
出来は知らないけど、書きたいものを書いて面白いなら、あなた教師なんてやってないでしょ?
After thinking on that for a moment, I nod.
でも書けてよかったわね。お疲れ様。おやすみなさい。
Good night. Jesus Christ, she's so dismissive. She really went all dismissive and disappointed. By the time I squeeze out an answer, she's already closed the door behind her. I don't think she's trying to be mean, nor do I think she was trying to throw cold water on my sudden desire to write. I actually understand where she's coming from. I mean, she has years of frustrations bubbling up. Yeah. I mean, I get it. I also get what I also get where she's coming from. She's absolutely right. I stare at the scattered papers. Is there any value to this story? Maybe I'm too old to get my hopes up like this. What will this manuscript change? Nothing. That's what. The whole time I was trying to become a writer, I was writing what I wanted. And look how I ended up. Living a boring life. Waiting for time to wash me away. There's no way my writing can change someone's life. I stare at the pages. There are over 100 of them. What's even the point of giving this to Rin? But when I reach out to the page and begin to crumple it,
先生の書くもの読んでみたいけど。
driven by the desire of that's all you needed to know.
いつ読ませてもらえるんですか？
I stop myself. I close my eyes. Don't throw it all away. You can't kick down what you built up with your own two hands. No matter what my wife says, no matter what anyone says, Rin, and only Rin, said that she wanted to read my writing. She said that she wanted to read something written by the person I am right now. I opened my eyes and breathed as I looked down at the papers again. So through this writing, I can face up the image of Shuho within myself. If I can help give Rin some insight somehow, it'll have some meaning. If she thinks it's not worth reading, she can just throw it away. That's fine. I'll give it to her and let her decide what to do with it. I gather together all the scattered papers and go back to my room. Monday is the day with the most lessons. Rin's class lesson is at 6. The final lesson of the day. Once this lesson is over, I'll head over to the library. I write on the blackboard at a steady pace. I repeat the lines I decided to say. I stop my thoughts and continue like this until the bell chimes. This is part of the life I've been leading up until now. Like always, once the lesson is over, I head to the library after passing by the teacher's room. I sit at the chair by the window. I gaze absentmindedly at the window, at the world outside. Okay, I'm slowly dying. I see Rin walking. She raises her head and looks over in my direction, smiling.
Sensei?
I nod.
できましたか?
I nod ambiguously. Rin tilts her head slightly. If I give this to you, I might only get you into trouble.
どうして?
What's this? If I give this back to you... Okay, sorry. I search for the words. Rin sits in the seat next to mine. I was getting... Exited? What? This should be excited, right? I was getting excited over it myself when I suddenly came to my senses. My wife said it to me as well. If I could just write what I want to write, then I wouldn't be a teacher.
奥さん、編集者の。
That's right. After being told that by my wife, I became frightened. Having my work read by someone else, it scares me. Rin stared at me. But I'm glad I wrote this manuscript. Ever since you told me you wanted to read my work, I've been thinking about writing again. Every word you have given me until today has brought me closer to Akifusa Shuho. Did the spelling... What the fuck?
私が?
I took out a manuscript from my bag and offered it to Rin. Rin stared dumbfoundedly at the manuscript in my hands. I wanted to know your father better so I could be your strength.
私のために書いてくれたんですか?
I wanted to know your father better so I could be your strength. I didn't know how to respond. That was indeed part of it. But I was really thinking about how I wanted to be her strength. As I thought that, Rin reached out in silence to the manuscript in my hands and touched it. I'm pretty sure she's touching something else right now. Both of her hands rested on the manuscript.
とても嬉しいです。あなたが私のために書いてくれたことが。私はとても嬉しい。
Rin smiled and silently pulled her hand from the back of mine. I could still feel her warmth on my hand.
読んでいいですか？
If you're okay with it.
読みたいです。
I nodded. Thank you.
待っていてくれますか？
Huh?
あまり読むのは早くないですけど。
I nodded. Extending her hand to the manuscript, she turned over the page. Watching her read, my gaze slowly drifted to outside the window. Is it just me, or I'm looking at the OBS window and I noticed there's a weird line on top? Never mind. While I waited for Rin to read the manuscript, I thought about reading a few volumes of a light novel. But ultimately, I couldn't focus and ended up reading nothing. Time carried on as Rin chased the letters, page by after page. Rin arrived at the last page as the sun began to set. Rin lifted her face after she finished reading.
先生が父のことをどう思っているかよくわかりました。
I nodded.
先生はこの作品をどうしたいですか？
I stared at Rin in silence. I took my eyes off Rin and stared at the manuscript.
ここに描かれているのは父ではない誰かです。先生はこの作品をどうしたいですか？本当に父のことを描きたいですか？
I stared at Rin in silence, not knowing how to answer. Rin shook her head in silence.
先生、あなたになら書けるから私は聞いているの。あなたはとても壊れやすい人です。きっとあなたが思っている以上に。今ならまだ戻れます。でもあなたは書き始めた。
As she said that, she placed her hand on my cheek. What? I was stunned and just let her do it.
あなたが選ぶしかないの。
After she said that, Rin sets her eyes directly on mine.
人間を描いた本物の小説を書きたいなら、人間を描く覚悟があるなら。
Rin cut her words and wrote something on a piece of paper.
明日の放課後、ここに来てください。待ってます。
Having said that, Rin sat up and turned to leave. The manuscript was left behind on the desk. I was engulfed by an indescribable sense of helplessness and defeat. It was a feeling I had never felt until now. I don't remember how I managed to get back home. Before I realized it, I was staring at the ceiling of my dark living room. If you had the determination to draw a human, Rin's words repeated over and over inside my head. Those words meant that the me I am right now is incapable of drawing people. It would have been easier on me if she had just said it was boring and uninteresting. I closed my eyes. I felt a sense of defeat and remorse. Those feelings lied firmly inside of me. I touched my cheek with my own hand. Rin's hand touched my cheek today. Bruh, this is lewd. Anyway, Rin's palm rested upon the back of my hand. That was before Rin read my novel. She must have been looking forward to reading it, only to be met with disappointment. That tends to happen when it comes to me. My work, my effort, that messy manuscript left on the desk of the library is all the proof I needed. He left it? He just fucking left it? Damn. He was so defeated that he left it. She deemed it unnecessary. She discarded it like trash. Yet I cannot keep my mind at the faint warmth of her hand. It feels like her warmth lingers there. I want this heat to burn it all. On my own, I began self-depreciating. What am I doing? A weak murmur reaches my ears. I could feel my consciousness slipping away. It was comforting. I want to sleep like this and never open my eyes again. I had no option but to live like this. I surrendered to the drowsiness that assaulted me. I have to get going. I'm gonna pause this. I'll be out for a couple of hours. But when I get back, All right, back. That was a good show I went to a while ago. Oh yeah, by the way, I actually cut a scene before this because Arishima-san fell asleep and had a dream that I cannot show in YouTube. I'm gonna try to make it as a thumbnail at least, so yeah, at least parts that you can see, I guess, that you're allowed to see. Anyway, let's continue. I woke up in a pitch black living room. As I woke up, my body jumped out in surprise. My mouth was dry. My throat felt as if it was burning. My pulse was very quick. My shirt opened up to the second button. Was that with sweat? What? But that was just a dream, right? It seems I fell asleep in the living room sofa. Today, my cheek was caressed by Rin's fingers. By the way, in a dream, okay? In a dream. Rin's warmth. The sound of her breathing still lingers in my ears. I got up and headed to the kitchen and washed my face. I filled a glass of water and drank it all in one go. My thirst didn't go away. It still didn't after drinking a second glass. My heart raced. It was hard in the wreck. It was the kind of erection I had when I was still in my 20s. It's the embodiment of my lust for Rin. My rash breathing continued. At that time, I heard the sound of the front door opening. I turned my sight to the living room door. My manuscript was spilling out of my bag onto the floor. Wait, I thought in the previous scene he left it in the library. Maybe I took that too literally. Anyway. My wife returned home. I gazed at her silently. She was staring at me in surprise. Her cheeks were faint red. This happens immediately when she drinks alcohol. She must have been out drinking somewhere. I see the distrust in her eyes as her expression darkens. How dare she look down on me like this? I know what you are. Even if you say you understand my suffering. I was already walking up to her. Her face, under a thin layer of makeup, was right in front of mine.
Nani?
My wife faltered. I looked down at her. My breath coming in thick and heavy. Thick and heavy. She tried to take a step back. However, I seized her arm. Paying no mind to my wife's protest, I pushed her down onto the sofa. Oh man, let's see how this goes. I mean, if things are gonna turn out right or things are gonna turn out wrong. Oh no, it's this angle. Well, looks like I might cut something off. Let's hope this is well, let's see. I leaned over her back and pinned her down. My face is buried under between the flesh of her ass cheeks. All I see in my head is Rin. I feel the burning desire to touch Rin's cheeks. There are a lot of cheeks. Which one? I want to make that delicate body mine. I want to stroke her with my hands, to seize her modest breasts, which push up her school uniform so alluringly. Wait, let me take this seriously. We're in. I mean, we're in. My primal urges were swirling inside me. Driven by my sick desire, I stripped Shoko's clothes off. unhooking her strap. Right, so I watched the sex scene and obviously it wasn't a happy one. The entire time the dude was thinking about Rin. Oh man. I don't know. Shit. Yeah, it's really sad, man. It's really sad. There was no joy involved in that act. She glared at me silently, and after taking a centering breath, she stood. Finally gathering her underwear, she headed to the washroom, but not before spitting out those cold words. She slams the living room door behind her. I stare at the scattered papers still lying on the table. I wanted you to read it too. Without even thinking, I muttered at nothing. The words trickled off my lips, destined to never reach anyone's ears. I was young, and so was she. Sorry, so was she. Back then, we took our lives for granted. When did it become so difficult and painful? We used to say what we want, what we meant. We were vulnerable in front of each other. Once upon a time, we were a real couple. With a heavy sigh, I sank into the couch. I turned my face up to the ceiling and covered my eyes with my right hand. Tears slowly made their way down my face, rolling down my cheeks one after the other. I've fallen the lowest a person can go. Not yet, bro. There's something lower than that. I fall back on the sofa. Nothing but a dirty, shameful mess. I'm so pathetic and disgusting that I made myself laugh. I wanted to be someone like Hatano Shuho was, someone would have recognition. I didn't want to become this pathetic mess. At some point, I break into weak sobbing. I weep like a damn child. What's worse, Rin's image is still burned in my mind. Imagine he was thinking about that while doing it with his quote-unquote wife. Fuck. I feel bad. I really feel bad for Shoko. Well, I also feel bad for the MC because, well, like, perhaps for good, I realize. I should have never written a single word, let alone a novel. In the bottom of my heart, I wish I hadn't. Interestingly, so far, this is the only prologue that has straight up H scenes in the beginning, but none of them were well, I mean, he did had like a dream with Rin, but that was still I don't know, man. That's yeah. Anyway, the sound chalk dragging across the blackboard echoes in the silent classroom, lightless and wearisome like me. My hands keep on writing out of pure habit. I keep doing so for 4 classrooms, just like I've done for years. Today as well. I'll stay here and keep repeating the usual routine without changing anything. It feels wrong. The sound of the chalk, the heavy silence of the classroom. I can't stay here a second longer. Among these innocent students, even the rebellious heart of the worst behave and so earnest that it becomes suffocating. I can feel my hand tensing up. As I hold the chalk, it begins to tremble, but I carry on writing. The chalk breaks and falls to the floor. I follow the small bits of chalk as they fall with my eyes. I stay still for a moment. I hear the whispers begin to spread behind my back. How long will I keep doing this? How long can I keep it up? I glance at the wall clock. It's almost time for the class to end. I put down the broken chalk. It's a little early, but let's leave class here for today. Let the students who don't usually pay attention during class look at me with bulging eyes. The buzzing in the classroom grows even larger. I just grab the attendance register, my bag, and get out at a brisk pace. In all my years as a part-time teacher, I have never finished a class before the chime of the bell. After the classes are over, I don't feel like going to the library or go back home. So I end up in the smoking area. Perhaps this is the only place that I have left now. I take out the cig, my very last one. I light it up and pop it in my mouth. I take out the note Rin gave me yesterday and look at it as I exhale smoke. What place is this? Rin said she'll be waiting. Is she waiting in this place? Waiting for me to come? Come? Sorry. It's because of the fucking HDs, man. Sorry. What if I go? I'll probably become more miserable. But she may be waiting for me for a long time if I don't. I imagine her in a strange place standing all alone. What do I do? What should I do? I dig myself into a mental hole, the cig burns out. I'm left just staring at the ceiling.
あれ最近たまにいるね放課後に
Yeah, give me one. His eyes widen in pure surprise.
珍しい
He fishes out the cig from the packet in his pocket and hands it over. I take it and light it up.
切らしたことなんてなかったじゃん今までただの一度も
That's so.
そうだよ
His cigs are a lot blander than mine. Oh, he smokes light, while my guy smokes red. What the fuck is this?
今日は図書館行かんの
Nah,
なんかあったの
nothing.
あそう
I have a regret. Watanabe turns to me. I just stare at it as the cig in my hand consumes itself. I should have done something I'm not used to.
慣れないこと
I wish I hadn't written that novel.
そうなの
I turn to Watanabe.
書けたら楽しそうだなと思うけど
Maybe people that can actually write feel that way.
え書き終わったって言ってたじゃん
Yeah, but I scratched at the back of my head. A student read it. Watanabe freezes for a moment where he is. He's silent, just staring at me. I was told that I didn't depict the person I was trying to invoke.
言うね
He let out a hearty laugh.
何ダメ出しされて落ち込んでるってこと
It's not as simple as you make it sound.
俺も小説書いてみようかな
Wait, what?
俺も女生徒にダメ出しされたい
I look at him in disbelief, but his expression is completely serious.
ダメ出しされたいんだ
Alright, guys. Alright. I get shit. It should have been me. Priscilla should have stepped on me. Anyway. Okay.
いや冗談だけど
I know.
でもいいじゃんそういうのなんか青春文芸部みたい
A 45-year-old married teacher is too old for a club.
年齢は関係ないだろ
I look up at him.
そんな風に考えてるやつがいきなり小説書いたりしないだろ知らんけど
I mean, yeah. I mean, I do like that. I don't know, man. He's, I don't know, man. Wait. I almost got really distracted. Let me get back to this.
最近楽しそうだったよ有島先生
Really?
体は疲れてそうだったけど
Alive?
うんっていうか今も楽しそうだけど
No, I'm the one with white eyes. I thought I was on the bottom of the barrel. But I look alive? Me?
ずっと死んだ魚みたいな目してたけど今はなんかすっごいギラギラした目してる
Oh no, he's no longer an MC. He doesn't have the dead fish eyes. Holy shit.
いや実際ちょっと尊敬するけどねだってやっぱこの年になるとさ何かに夢中になるってないじゃんも
We're about 10 years apart now.
うだから余計にだよこの前の書けないっていう悩みの方がよっぽど深刻な気がするんだけどそういうもんでもないの
No wonder. I feel a lot more tired now. I lost my guide as soon as it came out of my comfort zone. You could say I'm worse off than before in a way.
ねえ どんな話なの？
I look up at him again and wait.
有島先生の書いた話。
A story I wrote about Hatano Shuho as the main character. He was a senpai of mine in the writing seminar back in college.
畑野修法？
Taken aback, I stare at him. Hatano Rin's father. We talked about her at the bar, right? Remember?
なんだっけ。超有名な作家さんだっけ。
You don't know about Hatano Shuho?
うん。
He shakes his head. Not even a novel of him?
多分。
I named some of his masterpieces for him, but it doesn't seem like any of them ring a bell in his head.
一個も知らん。
I can't do anything but laugh.
いや、笑うなよ。
No, sorry. It just opened my eyes.
あ？
Can't change the world, huh?
うん。なんかごめんね。
Don't apologize. I think that helped me a whole lot. I may have been overthinking things.
そうかい？でも、なるほど。だから二人はよく話してたのね。
I turned to him again, curious.
お父さんが知り合いだから。
Oh,
そ
right.
れは道案内役に適任だね。確かに。
Puzzled, I stare at him. Guide?
お父さんの話だから畑野さんに確認してもらったんじゃないの？
I take Ren's note out of my pocket again. Guide, huh? Hatano Shuho's daughter is my guide then. After I'm finished with work for the day, I head to the address she wrote down. The address is in a neighboring town. I can catch a bus. Sorry, my brain. The address is in a neighboring town. I can catch a bus to from my nearest station. Yeah, there's something about how this sentence was written. It reminds me of the first day we spoke. I take another look at the note. Her handwriting is very neat and prim. I get off the bus as soon as my guide app tells me to, and then walk the rest of the way. The designated place seems to be an elegant-looking low-rise condominium complex. She's standing by the entrance. She notices me and bows her head in a greeting. Her expression seems pretty neutral the whole time. Here?
来ていただければわかります。
Rin says before turning around and entering the complex. This is a pretty fancy place. A unit here must cost a pretty penny. He walks down the hallway, then stops by a door and produces a key. I'm guessing this is her apartment. Oh! Oh! Damn. She unlocks the door and goes inside. I follow after her. A collection of book covers the wall entirely, and those that don't fit are piled up onto the desk or the floor. The windows are crushed by stacks of stacked bookshelves. Do you, live here? She slowly shakes her head.
住まいは別です。ここから歩いて行けるところ。この場所は父の仕事場です。
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. I remember this is quite common. Like some of the mangakas I know, they rent another apartment where they work nearby their house. Yeah, they have the cash to do that, but, you know. Whoa! On a closer inspection, there seems to be a good amount of notebooks besides the books. Why bring me here?
本当の父はこの場所にしかいなかったから。
Ren says as he picks up a notebook and hands it to me. Can I read it? Ren simply nods. I open the notebook. Messy handwriting spreads across the pages. This isn't writing. It feels more like hatred being put to paper. Abuse and insults thrown about haphazardly. Without a care for the delineated lines, it's like something a mad person would write in a frenzy of hate. What is this?
わかりません。あまりじっくり見る気にはなれなくて。私が最後に父に会ったのはこの場所だった。しばらく連絡がつかなくて、仕事の連絡も家に来るようになって、この場所に来たら父は死んでいたの。
Here? I take another overview of the room. It was reported as a heart attack, though. She slowly shakes her head.
浴槽が手首から流れた血でいっぱいだった。もう乾いて黒くなっていたけど。
Oh man, damn son. All right, I'm getting a good grasp now of what happened. Suicide. Rin nods.
最後まで父は畑野修法は私と向き合ってくれなかった。彼は私の父にならないままいなくなってしまったの。
Rin walks into the room.
私にもこんな父と向き合う勇気がないんです。でも
Okay, I'm kind of sort of understanding why Rin had commented that they're kind of similar.
先生が求めている答えはここにある。だって本当の畑野修法はこの部屋の中だけで生きていたから。
Rin stops in front of the desk and gently runs her finger over the open laptop resting on it. Alright, why we...
嘘に嘘を重ねて壊れてしまった。最後まで私の父になってくれなかったし、本当の自分を受け入れることもできなかったんだと思う。だから書くことによってどんどん追い詰められていった。自分と向き合えないまま誰のものでもない言葉ばかりを紡ぐようになってしまった。
She raises her face and turns to me.
あなたは同じ道をたどってはダメ。
Wait, I think this is my thumbnail for today.
あなたは父とよく似ているから。先生が描いた父はとっても綺麗でした。透き通っていて悪意がなくて純粋。でも本当の父が最後に見たのは失った家族なんかじゃない。あの人は自分のことしか考えていなかった。そんな畑野修法を知ってもあなたには書ける？あなたはこんなにも弱い畑野修法と向き合えるの
？As I stand there, stunned, looking back at her, tears began welling in her eyes. At that moment, I realized. Wait, I'm getting a lot of thumbnails here. In her mind, that man that rejected reality and chose to die and me overlap. She sees him in me. She realized that the words I was writing weren't coming from my heart when she read the Ginkgo story. I stared back at her without saying a word.
私はまだ父にとらわれたまま。
I'm getting a lot of these. Rin murmurs as she looks over the room.
ずっとこの部屋から出られていないの。
Our gazes met and stayed locked.
父の死体を見つけたあの日から一歩も。
Rin.
先生。
She calls out to me, holding back tears as her voice fades.
助けて。先生。
Ah, fuck. I get it. I get it now. I get it. I get it. Oh, man. I get it. God damn it. Ah. Oh, man. Oh, we had to end that dream. Fuck. Good thing that was the end of the prologue dreams, though. That means I should have a choice to choose the next one, right? I don't know. Originally, I was thinking about going through the order. If I had the choice to choose the next set of dreams, I thought about going through the order as I met with them the first time around. But like, considering how case one went, I'm like, I want to keep going, man. Let's continue. Huh?
おはようございます。
Where's Yonagi?
先に起きています。
Oh, I see. I've gotten accustomed to waking up to Yonagi peering into my face, but today I'm met with the ceiling. It makes me feel slightly sad. I stare at her empty bed for a moment. When I raise my face, I met Izumo's eyes as she looks down at me.
屋上に出ているみたいです。
Huh? Really? She nods. But didn't she say she doesn't like being out there?
少しずつヨナギは変わっています。
I see. That person in the dream resembles her. The things that happen as the dream progresses are changing her. I'm starting to get a vague sense of what this experiment is about. I want to see her. Can
も
I?
ちろんです。屋上に行きましょう。
I rise from the bed and put on my sandals. When the elevator doors open and I step out onto the rooftop, I see Yonagi's back. Uep-kun is hovering behind her. She's just looking at the sky. I chase her gaze with mine. I look up at the round starry sky. It feels so close you could reach out and touch it, but not quite. The surface and the wind are so near yet so far. Wild greenery spreads out beyond the circular lens. I turn my gaze back down to Yonagi. Noticing my approaching footsteps, she turns around. Ohayo.
おはよう。
I stand next to her, resting my elbows on the railing. She watches me attentively. Then she grabs me by the cheeks and turns my face towards her.
カイト。
I nod, still sandwiched between her hands.
カイト。
That's me. She nods. Finally, she slowly peers her hands away from my cheeks. Do you recognize me? Yonagi shakes her head. Then she raises her hand and points at my face.
カイト。
Then she points at herself.
ヨナギ。それだけ。
I answer her with a nod. What are you doing out here?
空を見てた。
Aren't you cold?
ちょっと。
The air isn't that good out here. Maybe we should go inside.
でも空が見たくてここにあるのを確認したくて。お腹すいた。ご飯にしますか？うん、喉乾いた。戻りましょう。
Not yet. I need to talk to you, Izumo. Izumo gives me a level stare.
リープ君、ヨナギを。
Leap-kun hovers ahead of Yonagi to guide her. She follows after the little floating robot back to the elevator. Once the door closes, we're the only ones left on the Okujo. It's changed.
はい。
Does it have something to do with the dream I'm having? Otherwise, you wouldn't need to bother monitoring my dreams. The only one who changes each time I wake up is Yonagi. You don't need to answer. In fact, I feel like your silence is an answer in itself.
なぜですか？
If I wasn't close to the truth, you wouldn't deny what I'm saying. There's only one thing I want to ask. Stare at her face. If I keep dreaming, will you be able to help that girl? Is this experiment being done for Yonagi's sake?
はい。ヨナギは救われます。
What's wrong with her?
今は答えられません。
Did I know before I lost my memory? She nods. I see. So that must mean I agreed to help with this experiment because I wanted to help her. She keeps her steady neutral gaze on me. And even as I am now, I want to see her grow. But how many times have we repeated this exchange? How many times have I had my memories wiped and kept dreaming?
あなたの記憶をクリーンアップしたのは一度だけ。
Once. Not like I have much choice but to believe whatever you tell me. You said it yourself. You can lie if you need to. But I have no choice but to believe.
でも本当の嘘つきは私のように自白しないとあなたが言った。
The comment rips a chuckle out of me, and then a hint of bewilderment in Izuma. Or perhaps I'm just imagining things again. Perhaps I'm just seeing what I want to see, attributing emotions where there are none. Rin's memory lingers in my mind. That sorrowful wail of hers. I'm sure it's as much Yonagi's sadness as it is Rin's. In both this world and the dream world, I'm the only one who can save her. I clench my fists, a mixture of frustration and helplessness filling my being. There are still many things I don't understand. But I've decided what it is I want to get back first.
何ですか?
Izuma stares at me, her tone as monotonous as ever. I watch her staring at me from the corner of my eye. A faint smile touches my lips. Little by little, I'm coming to like this aloof girl. Perhaps even after being watched so many times, faint traces of my memories are starting to coalesce within me. When the time comes, you'll understand. I use the same phrase she said to me once before and smile at her. She simply stares at my profile, and as I look up at the night sky, her expression unfazed. The stars twinkle in the distant sky. I wonder if the night breeze blows beyond the lens separating us from it. I'll wonder. Does Yonagi imagine that wind enveloping us as well? What goes through her mind? Let's go back.
中に
I shake my head. Yonagi's dream.
Yonagi のすべての夢が
Huh?
規定の進行度を超えました。一時保存したヨナギの脳のマッピングデータをこちらから送信すれば任意の夢の続きから見ることができます。
Oh, that big data.
リープ君がヨナギの脳の感覚信号を記録し続けている。
So, we can nudge her towards a particular dream by stimulating the parts of her brain that activate during each of them. And you had the data for all the dreams. 3 of them, right?
はい。
How did you know it's 3? I smile again. I only remember one of those dreams. But Lip-kun has the data for all 3 of them, right? It gives me a small nod. How strange. Who dreamed those other 2 with her? She stares at me in complete silence. Never mind, just tell me one thing. Is this the first time this experiment has gone this far? Or had we had this conversation more than once?
ヨナギのすべての夢の進行度が規定値を超えたのはこれが初めてです。計画は確実に進行しています。
I see. And I can believe it when you say that.
これ以降、カイトの記憶がイニシャライズされることはない。信じていい。
Well, I suppose I'll have to. In other words, they have initialized my memory several times in the past. So, how do I choose the dream?
口頭で伝えてくれればいい。どの夢にしますか?
This is so hard. Where's the okay, there you go. Alright guys, originally I was planning to do like case 3, case 2, case 1. But you know what? I like case 1 so much, I'm gonna be like, fuck it, we'll go through case 1. Then we'll go to the we'll do a reverse order then. We'll do case 1, case 2, case 3.
すみません。わがままを言って。あの場所には長居したくなくて。
It's fine. Don't worry about it. Overcome with emotion, she opened up to me in her dad's studio. While I processed it, she asked to leave the room, so we did. After that, she brought me to her apartment. It was a short walk, just like she said. The place she's living in is pretty huge. All the furniture feels really fancy. It's probably expensive. But why is her TV so fucking small? Rin sets up 2 teacups side by side on the table and sits facing me.
付き合いのある出版社が協議して本当の死因は隠すことに決めたそうです。父の個人事務所の秘書の方から聞きました。大敗的な作風の純文学作家だったらもしかしたらありのまま公表していたのかもしれません。
Wait, let me pause for a bit. All right, back. Where was I? Let me. Okay, it's Rin's line. Dazai Osamu, Akutagawa Ryonosuke, Kawabata Yasunari. The list of literary masters that chose to take their lives isn't exactly short.
父の作品の中で人気のあるものは最後に救いのあるものばかりでしょう。
I nod. The corners of her mouth twist into a little sarcastic smile.
不憫ですよね。
How so?
父はこの世を去った後も嘘をつき続けている。自分の意志とは関係ないところでもう本人には関係ないでしょうけど。
After that, the silence extends for a while. There's not even the ticking of a clock in this room to break the stillness. The hands of the wall clock glide across the surface soundlessly. I watch it go by for a while.
これを
As soon as Rin speaks, my head snaps back to her.
先生に渡しておきます。
She places a key on the table. It's for the studio.
不要なら返してくれればいい。使うかどうかは先生にお任せします。
I stare down at the key. It's a rectangular key with round dents along its length. What do you want me to do? Is there something you want from me? When I raise my gaze, our eyes meet. You want me to learn what he really was? What he was really like as What is that? What? Let me repeat this. You want me to learn what he was really like as a person. Okay, it's missing. Yeah, as a person, so you can depict him properly and you can better understand him. Is that it? Though with her eyes on me, she speaks slowly.
救われてほしい。父と同じ道をたどってほしくない。父の生の声に触れることがその助けになるかもしれないし、先生ならそれによってまた書くべき何かを見つけられるかもしれない。
And that would save you?
多分先生が父とは違う道を選ぶことで私は救われるかもしれない。
I ponder upon her words. Does she thinks her father and I are alike. She also thinks she can save me by intervening and preventing me from turning out like him. She sees someone close to her, on his way to ruin in her eyes, who could gain something from her actions. And that would be salvation she's looking for? While I think upon her words, she remains silent. She simply stares at me, almost completely still. You think too much of me. Your father, your dad, and I couldn't be more different. Dad's writing was so exceptional that he killed himself over it. The words don't have that power. You read them. You should know.
先生は自分のことを見損ないすぎです。それに自分の悲鳴に鈍感にならない方がいいと言っていたのは先生でしょ。人を傷つける力は誰の文章にもありますよ。先生はもしかしたら自分の文章に殺された後なのかもしれない。
What? That expression. That actually does sound like me, strangely enough. That's even more proof that I can't go off like your dad.
這い上がるんです。死の淵から。あの小説を遂行するにしても、新しい小説を書くにしても、あの場所にあるものは邪魔にはならないと思います。
I'd be lying if I said I'm not interested. He's the person I've been looking up to for years. The one person that embodied all my ideals. All that created material that always seemed wrapped up by a thick veil is there. The world at large doesn't even know his real cause of death. They believe in the lie that his editors and publishing house put out. Ren has been chasing after her dad for so long. And she said that none of his books truly reflect his mind. But that mind, the particular scent of the author, is hanging over that studio, almost choking in its intensity. Will I be consumed by it? Will I be able to see his true self and stay as I am?
鍵はお渡ししますが、使うかどうかは先生次第です。
I lower my gaze to the kagi again. Okay, I'll take it.
はい。
But I won't go over there unannounced. That's a bit much.
構わないですよ。今はもう誰も来ません。
I shake my head. I'll let you know whenever I go in or out. I take out my
ちょ
smartphone.
っと待ってください。
She leaves her seat, comes back after a moment with her own phone.
いつもカバンに入れっぱなしなので。
I nod. We exchange contact information in a popular messaging app. Hello. I sent the first message. And she responds with a hi. I'll drop by after this. Is there anything you don't want me to do in that room? Okay, it's missing some words. It's a word. She thinks for a moment.
紙が多いから。
I nod. I'll be careful not to start a fire.
キッチンに灰皿が置いてありました。吸うときはそこで。
I let out a dry chuckle. Looks like I'm destined to smoke in kitchens wherever I am. I'll message you again when I'm leaving. She nods.
そのまま帰りますか？
Huh? I think on that question for a moment.
いえ、なんでもないです。
Maybe she's referring to a different home. This home where we are right now, I mean. When I nod, she smiles again. I walk from Rin's apartment back to Shuho's studio alone. What will I find there? I remember the notebook Rin gave me. I've unleashed the same kind of unstoppable, visceral anger on the page before too. The notebook ends up torn, and the mechanical pencil used on it bent. But the anger doesn't go away. It never does. Of course it doesn't. Because the thing that causing the anger is your own self. It's not the kind of anger you can quell by breaking things. But you just can't help yourself. The need to vent is too great. I've had that kind of moment before. When she handed me that notebook, it felt like I was getting my own notebook returned to me. It feels like she's seeing right through me. Seeing me for the small, pathetic man that I am. I look up and see the condominium complex ahead. Can I really face up to Hatano Shuho? I step into the confined room once again. This is where he died, alone. Now that I'm aware of that, the air in this room somehow feels heavier than before. There's a thick layer of dust covering most of the stuff in it. I simply sit down on the floor in the middle of it and take it all in. I notice a pile of paper nearby and reach out to it. There are bundles of newspapers from years past. Writing left behind by the deceased. Things that weren't meant to be read by anyone. Is it morally okay for me to read them? I still have my doubts. I can't bear the idea of someone digging up my notebooks after my death. Did he even think about that when he took his life? What would I have done if I was going to die? In a way, I suppose the fear of people going through my stuff or seeing what I wrote would keep me from ending my life. But perhaps a person with serious suicidal thoughts wouldn't worry about what others might see or say about him after the fact. It has nothing to do with honor. Not at all like a samurai's death by seppuku. I ponder my own death. As for where, I can only think of my own room. That's the only place where I feel alone and at peace. If I were about to end my life, I would definitely erase all the data from my laptop. Memories of last night come rushing in. I remember my wife's voice as I forced myself upon her. It had been well over a decade since I had any physical contact with her. Maybe even before these already yellowed newspapers were published. What will happen to us now? How will we keep living in that house? Or perhaps I'm asking the wrong question. How will we part ways? Whatever the outcome, the one thing I'm certain of is that there is no bright future ahead of me. Perhaps my best option is to stay here forever. I hug my knees to my chest and rest my forehead on them before closing my eyes. Quiet in here. The air is loaded and heavy. The thick air swirls around me like the flowing water. It feels like being at the bottom of a riverbed. Not the kind that goes downstream to meet with the ocean, the sea, but the bottom of a dark, cold, stale lake. Isn't it perfect? What else does a piece of trash like me deserve? I see now. Rim must have known this whole time. They must have known that I needed this place. They must have realized. My breathing slowly evens out. I take deep, relaxed breaths. The terror I felt when I first stepped in here is gone. What was I even afraid of? In here, you don't need to fear the outside world. I sleep a dreamless sleep. How long have I been here? The sunlight doesn't touch this room. This might be a great place to focus entirely on one's work, but I can't forget about the world beyond. Not yet, at least. I take out my smartphone and look at the time. Morning, It's about time for the first bus of the day to depart. I sigh. Time to go to work again. I raise my weary body. After that, I send a message to Rin. I'm leaving the room. He reads it just a few seconds after I send it. I like how I like their chat has like has a fucking background, and then like imagine the last time they spoke was the day before, and now he's only just sending the message, I'm leaving the room. Okay, she answers, but I feel like she was waiting for his message. Her reply is yeah, she was waiting for his message. Her reply is immediate. It's still about 5 in the morning. For a moment I wonder if she was waiting to hear from me, but then I get over myself and drop the idea. Maybe the notification woke her up. I put away my phone without replying. The sun feels dazzling. As I step outside, we're already in the middle of summer. The semester will be over soon. Step by step, I walk toward my everyday routine. What will my wife and I say to one another next time we meet? Will I see contempt in her face, or just plain hatred? Do I have to go back to that home knowing there is no hope? I feel strangely at peace in Shuo's study, but even that's fading now. I take the key out of my pocket. I stare at it as it sits on the palm of my hand. What will my life become from now on? My life. Is it even worth living? Even? I arrive home before the clock hits 6. The roads are empty this area, and there weren't many people riding the first bus of the day. When I open the front door, I see my wife's suitcase by the entrance. Okay, she's leaving him now. I mean, considering what happened, you know. I look down at it for a moment. Hearing the living room door open, I raise my gaze and see my wife. Her expression is a massive surprise.
なんでここにいるのよ?
Man, the lip sync doesn't work. I'm a little baffled with the question. This is my house too.
部屋で寝てると思ってた.
First thing I notice from her tone is that she's deeply fed up. You're leaving? She lets out a huge, exasperated sigh. It's half fatigue, half annoyance, all hate.
あなたと同じ家で眠れるわけないでしょ。
I stand there at the entrance, looking dazedly in her direction. She swiftly puts on her shoes and extends the handle of the suitcase.
じゃ
She passes by me, her stride strong and swift. Kyoko, I call out to her from behind. Turns around and shoots me an icy glare. Her expression nothing but open disgust. Just tell me one last thing. The day when we met for the first time, why did you decide to talk to me instead of Shuho? She squints her eyes and looks at me suspiciously. He's the one who won the award. We were at his party. That's the first time you ever spoke to me. She stares at me without saying a word. At least tell me that. That's all I want. She lets out a small sigh.
何でも物語にしようとしないでくれる？
Her eyes burn with contempt. Story?
あなたの文章に何かを感じたから。畑野先生を超える未来が見えたから。
Oh, fuck! Wait. Oh, no, sorry. Okay, sorry. No. I was thinking if she read his most recent writing, but no, she's talking about back then.
そう言ってほしいんでしょ？そういう物語の主人公になりたいんでしょ？
Oh, no. Okay. No. Sorry, I misunderstood the whole context. Okay, I totally... She's trying to... Never mind. I simply stare at her without answering.
私は畑野先生に群がるその他大勢になりたくなかっただけ。
Her words carry a tinge of self-derisition.
あなたにならよくわかるでしょ。割り切って迎合することもできなかったし、かといって流れに抗ってまで守りたい何かがあるわけじゃない。そうだったでしょ。私も。
I'm unable to answer. A long silence falls between us.
私はあなたの人生の配役じゃないの。あなたの人生を彩るために生きてるんじゃない。
I know that.
分かってない。分かってないから人を物みたいに扱えるのよ。あなたは私という人間を踏みにじったのよ。
Her tone is flat.
一生忘れないで。人として最低のことをした自覚を持って。顔も見たくないし、声も聞きたくない。あなたの全部が不快でしょうがないの。もういい加減解放してよ。
I can feel the pure, undiluted hate in her words clawing at me. Sorry. I stare down at her feet as I say it. There's no love lost between us, and yet I'm unable to face that deep hatred. She's right. I forced myself on her that night because I'm weak and I'm trash.
直接やり取りするのはやめましょう。
I don't look up.
謝罪もいらない。あなたの言葉にはもう何も感じない。
She turns away for the last time, and the front door closes behind her. I hear the faint sound of the suitcase wheels rolling away. Soon, not even that remains. Your words don't mean anything to me anymore. I know that those words will be the last I ever hear from her. Okay, I guess they're separated from here on then. At last, I raise my face. I can't help but smile at the sudden realization. That room? Now I know why I feel so comfortable in Shuho's room. The air in this house is also heavy. This place is just like that studio. I'm used to this oppressive atmosphere, but it's over now. My life, that is. The married life we lived for 21 years. I destroyed it. I turn on the extractor fan in the kitchen and take out a cig under it. I stare vacantly as the smoke I exhale is sucked into it. As I watch the swirling tendrils, I realize that I don't have to smoke in a corner like this anymore. There's no one to complain if I put out my cigs on the floor instead of in an ashtray. Bro, I wouldn't do that. I still wouldn't do that, man, because it's dirty and you could accidentally burn your house. So it's good to have an ashtray. I'm the only one in this house now. There's no one else. It's almost unreal. 25 years in a relationship. 21 years of marriage. All over. What the hell did we build in our 25 years together? What was it all for? We didn't build anything. We just went through the motions. Got a job, get married, buy a house. I kept on treasuring those empty moments, pretending like I was protecting something important in our lives. That was true for me, both me and my wife. Our time together was of no value to either of us. Why did we spend so many years faking being a family? I finally begun losing my connection to this world. Oops. Not just at the academy, but as a member of society as well. There's no world for disgusting old men like me out there. I keep looking up to the fan as it rotates. But despite everything, I know I'll still go to work when it's time. I'll keep teaching those lessons no one needs. And am I keeping up appearances, or is it my work ethic? I don't even know what's left in me anymore. As such, a piece compromising mainly of waka poems is called Uta Monogatari. In the end, I came here. I've never been absent from work, and I don't think it'll ever happen. I spent the last night in the place where a person died and broke up with the person I lived with for a quarter of a century after the morning after. And then I came here to teach a lesson I don't give a crap about. What the hell am I even doing here? What am I trying to protect? I don't know. What am I here for? Who even wants me to be here? My mind is a complete mess, but I can still keep writing on the blackboard and spout motionless explanations to the class. If I keep going through the motions, perhaps I'll end up not feeling anything. I give the students a task, sit down and turn my gaze to Rin. As usual, she's looking out the window. Her expression seems ephemeral, and lifeless like a statue. I stare at her for a while. I know this is not her place, and chances are that she knows my place isn't here either. Yet our legs still carry us both here, where we sit and simply let time go by. We hold our breath together in the classroom, telling no one about how we met in her house yesterday. It's like we're hiding a huge secret, infiltrating this normal world while we live in another hidden one. I follow her gaze out the window. What is she looking at right now? Impossible? I don't want to see the limp, pathetic thing I become in this classroom reflected in her eyes. After I'm done with classes for the morning, I head straight to the smoking area. I don't feel like having lunch today. I just stare at the smoke rising from my cigarette. Raising my head, I see Watanabe. He's looking down at me, a tense smile marking his face. Watanabe's voice lowers to a whisper as he takes out a cig and lights it up. I just shake my head. I don't know. Watanabe still looks tense, and my laughter doesn't seem to help. Like a soap opera, huh? Guess I chose the bad time for it, because I'm tired as hell. I'll tell you when things have calmed down. Good question. I came to work. I'm still fine enough. I lower my gaze to the floor, fixing it on nothing in particular. We spent the rest of the time in silence, and before a long lunch break is over. Damn, man. After I'm done with work for the day, my legs take me back to Shuho's studio. I'm heading to the studio again. I write to Rin. Again, she reads it almost immediately. Okay, she answers. I'm a little surprised by the swiftness of her response. It's as if she's waiting, honestly. It's as if she's waiting, right? That's how I interpret it, at least. Even when I'm Even when I was living with my wife, my house was always empty when I got home. I was often alone until it was time to go to bed. Her moving out won't change much, except that now the silence in the house feels different. I thought the relationship between us was already cold and dead, but I've done nothing but think about our marriage today. Or maybe I'm just pretending to think about it. My thoughts feel scattered and blurry. My encounter with my wife, the encounter with Rin, my rekindled urge to create, coming face to face with Shuho's death. My mind keeps circling around the same thoughts. Before I know it, I'm already in the front of the complex. I take a deep breath. The stagnant air fills my lungs. It's strange and comforting. I feel like I'm adapted to this place. I'm at ease here. I feel like I can be myself. I walk to the center of the room and touch Shuho's desk. The power strip that gives power to the lamp is unplugged from the outlet. I pick it up, plug it in, and turn on the light. Warm light immediately breathes life into the room. I slowly pull out a chair and sit down. I place both hands on the desk. I can't help but laugh at myself. I'm acting like some earnest literature student visiting a museum with a reproduction of the desk used by a literary master. So this is where Shuho wrote his novels. The laptop is connected and charged. After thinking it over for a moment, I turn it on. The screen lights up. Within seconds, I'm blocked by a login screen. Of course, even I set up password for my laptop. I turn off the laptop. Looking back over my shoulder, I reach for one of the many notebooks stacked nearby. I recall the page spread that Rin showed me yesterday. Will this one be full of hateful writing just like the last? Squinting in the dim light, I open the book. Neat and proper handwriting fits in the quarter-inch space between the lines. A diary. Everything's wrong. Every single thing. Slowly but surely my reality loses life. Vitality. First, it was the heat. The heat in my mind slowly died out. Just as a corpse cools down, my soul's heat disappeared, never to return. There's not even an ember left in me anymore. All I can do is watch as my heart slowly dies. The next thing that went was sound. And lastly, even the color left me. Everything is now a blanket of gray in my eyes. A lightless shell of a world without warmth, sound, or color. The only thing I feel is an unquenchable thirst. What is this? If I could see my face right now, I'm sure my eyes would be glimmering. I cover the smile forming the corners of my mouth with my hand. A small choked chuckle escapes my lips. It's the same. Who would have thought that here in this place, I would find a soul I sympathize with from the bottom of my heart? I understand all that he writes here. The frustration, the lethargy, the despair, and hopelessness that keep you paralyzed. I get it, Shuho. Was here all along. A person just like me. Would he have been able to truly understand me? No. I could have understood him as well. I turned the pages and days. It's the first time since junior high that I've been this entranced over words that haven't been typed and printed onto paper. Forgetting myself entirely, I kept reading his diary. I followed Shuo's daily life, sometimes laughing with him, sometimes frustrated by the shallow people around him. It feels like I'm working together with him as a fellow writer. I can feel the true Shuo coming through in this writing. Or rather, it's precisely because he's not trying to write anything that his being emerges from these pages. When I close the notebook and stare at the cover for a moment, the phone vibrates in my pocket. It's a message from Rin. Are you still in my father's studio? She asks. A short to point question. I think for a second, then reply. Yes, I'm about to leave. It's marked as read within seconds. Oh shit! She was really waiting for his response. Her eyes were really glued. The message that indicates she's writing something appears. I wait for her reply. Immediately after the backlight dims, my phone vibrates again. Would you like to have dinner together? She writes. I stare at the message for a moment. I think for longer than the time it took for her to reply. I want to tell Rin about what I learned of her dad today. That's what I'm here for. Us eating together won't harm or do wrong by anyone. But we know that's how it always starts. The only people who would reproach us for spending time together are the small-minded and self-righteous. Okay, I respect that. I mean, I respect that he thinks that way. Yeah, that'll be nice, I answer. I press send. He reads the message and sends an answer. Thank you. I'll be there in 15 minutes. I reply with an okay, then stow the phone back into my pocket. There are more Shua's diaries piled up. Maybe I should take the next one with me. After thinking it over, I decided I shouldn't take anything that's in here outside. This is a sanctuary. If I don't read them here in this space, something will be lost. With a little reluctance, I leave the studio and everything in it behind. When I get off the elevator and step outside, I see Rin waiting for me by the entrance. It hasn't even been 5 minutes since she sent the last message. I hurry over to her. Noticing me, she bows in greeting. Hey. A little unsure on how to greet her back, I default to a lame salute. But I guess it isn't that bad, judging from the way she smiles.
疲れていませんか？昨日は朝まであそこにいたんですよね。
Yeah, I'm fine. I slept for a while. She seems
あの
surprised.
部屋で？
I nod sheepishly, sitting on the floor actually.
そうですか。
So, where are we going? A diner would be fine by
い
me.
くつかあります。少し離れたところの方がいいですよね。この辺にはまだ学校の人いますから。
You might also want to change out of your uniform while you're at it. Yeah, right. I didn't even think of that. I feel a little inadequate as I nod. Let's do that. We walk to the bus stop together. He takes me to a cafe. The place looks pretty snazzy, and most of the tables are filled with younger people. I'm the only middle-aged person. We sit facing each other at the small table. Rin's orders spaghetti, and I a beef curry. After the person taking our order leaves, she stares at me like she has something to say.
あの、
Yeah?
先生っていつもカレーを食べていませんか？
Huh? She looks at me, clearly
な
curious.
んだか学食で。
Oh, I guess you're right. I let a small laugh. If there's curry on offer, that's what I tend to go for. Guess I like it well enough.
毎日同じで飽きないんですか？
Not really. Her eyes widen in surprise.
そんなにカレーが好きなんだ。一度だけそばを食べてましたけど。
Oh my god, she's taking track, right? She's taking track of what he's eating. I was nursing a hangover that day and gone drinking with a colleague the night before. A little laugh escapes her lips.
先生同士でもそういうことあるんですね。
Only Watanabe, you know, from social studies.
あの若い先生か。仲いいんですね。
I nod. He's the only one I would call a friend.
唯一。そうなんだ。
Those words seemed to make her think for a moment.
迷惑ではなかったですか？
Oh no, she was like, I'm not even a friend on his eyes. Rin asks as she reaches for her water glass on the table. What?
奥さんがご飯を作っているかもとも考えたんですが。
Oh. That takes a dry chuckle out of me. Don't worry, I always have dinner alone. It's no bother.
そうですか。
How about you? She cocks her head in slight confusion. You come here often? She shakes her head.
週末の昼間にたまに。夜に来たのは今日が初めてです。
You eat out a lot?
作ることもありますけど、買ってくることが多いですね。お弁当とか。
Oh no, I felt that. You know what? I felt that because that's how I am. Even my dinner tonight was like a takeout. But I'm gonna eat at home on the weekend, I guess.
先生のところはどうなんですか？先生も奥さんも外食？
Oh no, 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 this question. I see her face in my mind's eye again. I suppose, at least I do. I often just grab something while I'm out and take it home. My microwave sees a lot of use. There's that look again, like she has something she wants to say. What is it? Rin stares at her glass of water for a moment before speaking up.
先生と奥さんはどうして一緒にいるのかなと思って。
Every time she says the word wife, it feels wrong. She's no longer my wife. We separated in every sense of the word except legally. And I'm sure the paperwork will reach me soon enough. That's a good question. Rin's voice is almost a whisper. I snap back from my thoughts and turn to her. She's staring down at her glass of water again. Yeah?
子供はいるんですか?
As in children of my own? Rin nods. What do you ask?
なんとなく
I half listen as she stumbles over her words for a while.
子供がいるから奥さんと一緒にいられるのかなと思って。そういうものなのかなと。ただなんとなく。
Huh. Guess that makes sense. When I say that, she turns her eyes up to me. I wouldn't know. I don't have any kids.
そうなんですか。
I do see how having a kid would be a reason enough to make a couple stick together, at least until they're grown up. I've never been in that position though, so I wouldn't know. Besides, some parents give more weight to their own situation than their kids.
そうですよね。
The silence lingers for a moment before the waiter comes with our orders of beef curry for me and raw spaghetti for her. Mentaiko, I guess.
食べましょうか。
I nod and pick up my spoon.
いただきます。
Rubba-dubba-dub-dub. Rin murmurs as she neatly wraps the spaghetti around her fork and brings it up to her mouth. I do the same with my curry. It's a little spicier than what they serve at the campus cafeteria, but it goes down easy. This is pretty good.
わかった。
Rin smiles at me.
何か発見はありましたか?
After eating for a while, she asked me a question.
部屋で。
Yeah. I swallow and nod. I did. Rin stares right at me. I read your dad's diary.
いつ頃のものですか?
The autumn of year before he passed. There was none of the erratic writing that you showed me before. You want to read it too? She takes a moment and shakes her head.
大丈夫です。
It's strange. Why not? She raises her gaze to me again. You said you wanted to know about him. You're even reading his novels, right? So why don't you read what he wrote in his diary? I feel like you could get so much more out of reading his diary than the stuff he published. Rin stays silent for a moment.
父には結婚願望がなかった。
God damn, son. Really? I have a feeling Rin's an unwanted child in the sense that, you know, he just had it's a one night stand, but like he got the girl pregnant and, you know, he got married. Maybe he's one of those. Let's see how this goes. I repeat what she just said in my head. What do you mean? Rin slowly lowers her fork and places it back on the table.
私もあの部屋のものを読んでみたことはあるんです。父は母を恨んでいた。
Oh no, no, no. He relates to that.
後悔していた。
He relates to that shit. He looks down again, and her eyes wander about the table.
両親の結婚のきっかけになったのは私だったんです。
I knew it. I knew it. I see. So, it was a one-night stand accident. Things start to make sense. Maybe that's why she asked if I had any kids.
私が臆病なのかも。
Rin said the same thing at the library before. I suppose the dead can't talk back, no matter how much we might want them to.
私だって父と私を捨てていた母を好きなわけじゃない。
Oh, that's the situation. So the mom left Rin with her dad. I thought okay. It kind of makes sense because we never meet her mom anyway, so.
だか 父のそんな後悔の言葉は見たくないですよ。自分の価値が初めから生まれる前から全くなかったなんて、たとえそうであってもそんなこと知りたくなかった。
I don't think that's quite right. She raises her face to look at me again. I notice her eyes starting to water. I return her gaze. Even if your mom abandoned you, or if your dad regretted his marriage, that has nothing to do with your value. Parents don't have the right to determine their child's worth. You're you, and no one can take that away. No one's birth certificate comes with a price tag for their life's value. You're not worthless. She stares at me stunned. For example, I'm having a good time during dinner for the first time in months, and it's thanks to you. Maybe you are saving me far more than you think.
先生、楽しいんですか？
Bro's doing the smooth words over a underage kid. I nod. This is way more fun than eating dinner alone in an empty house. He lets out a little chuckle.
こんな暗い話をしているのに。
Bragging about who has the biggest misfortune can be entertaining when the company's good. He seems a little milf at that last remark.
別に自慢なんてしてない。
I know, it's just a figure of speech. She takes a deep breath and smiles. Sometimes she looks way more mature than I give her credit for.
先生の不幸自慢も聞かせてください。気の置けない仲間でしょ？
I'm a middle-aged teacher who has done nothing of worth in his life. You want me to add more stuff on top of that? I'm just as I seem, a walking billboard of misery.
でも教え子と2人で食事してる。それで総裁じゃないですか。
For a moment, I see her bright rose eyes sparkle. Maybe. I do feel like we have some strange connection. And I think I'm really lucky to have met someone like you by pure coincidence. The conditions in which we grew up are kind of similar. I never thought much of my father. Heck, I didn't even know what he looked like. Her eyes widened in surprise.
そうだったんですね。
I remember thinking what you're thinking of now a lot when I was young.
同じようなこと？
I felt like I was denied value as a person for a long
で
time.
もその時間があったから今日私に先生の言葉が届いた。
Why not? Exactly. Life has a way of setting things right. Rin's smile looks genuinely bright for once.
先生、全然不幸じゃないですよ。不幸の看板は取り下げですね。
I shake my head with a silly smirk on my face. My wife left me this morning. I'm at rock bottom. Smile slowly fades from Rin's face.
本当なんですか？
I nod.
どうして？
My fault, I suppose. Scratch that, suppose. It's all on me. She stares at me in silence for a while. We both deceive each other, and we never really lived as a couple during all these years. All we did was pass the time pretending like we were husband and wife. At least for that, I think we both share the blame. I can feel her gaze on me. I take a sip of water to try to quench my thirst a little. But it's my fault in the end. I make no excuses. I see the line of her mouth turn into a frown.
追いかけなくていいんですか？
Nah, neither of us feel anything for the other at this point. There's only the forced paperwork to do now, nothing else. She looks down again and is silent for a moment.
すみません。そんな日に。
I shake my head. No, you helped me a lot. I needed it, especially today. I'm sorry for bringing it up. I don't mean to make you uncomfortable.
話してくれたことは嬉しいです。私も先生のことが知りたくて今日誘ったので。でもそんなことがあったなんて全然知らなかった。
She trails off and remains quiet for a bit.
父の家に泊まったのがきっかけですか？無断外泊だったから。
Do you really think someone would leave a person because of that? Well, maybe. I mean, there is some people, but like, it's kind of silly to think about. I shake my head again. Don't worry, that has nothing to do with it. She looks at me clearly anxious. Someday, If I ever feel like talking about it, I may tell you. I don't really feel like talking with anyone about it right now. She calmly nods. Oh, she'll wait. Oh. After finishing the beef curry, I order some coffee from the waiter that comes to pick up dishes. You want some too? While chewing on the last on her spaghetti, she nods. The waiter bows and leaves with a nervous smile on his face. Suddenly a thought dawns upon me. What do we look like to the people around us? If a man and a woman with a clear age gap are eating together, is it reasonable to assume they're parent and child? Well, I think she's wiping her mouth with a napkin. When she looks back up, our eyes meet.
何ですか?
It's nothing. We leave the quaint cafe behind after drinking our coffee. I ended up paying the whole bill. Ren seemed confused by it, but I couldn't possibly let her pay. The moment we were presented with the bill, she panicked a little. It reminded me how innocent she can be sometimes. She'll be graduating high school and going to the university soon enough. And after that, she'll go out into the working world. I imagine she'll be asked out to lunch by countless men. I'm sure by the time she'll have learned how to gracefully deal with a bill like a proper lady. She'll develop a detachment to let a man pay the bill without feeling guilty. That's what's expected of both parties. I don't like that bullshit, man. We always split. And when a date is split. Moment I'm asked to pay, red flag. I'll leave that shit. Anyway, it strikes me that Rin I'm seeing today is a very fleeting thing.
ごちそうさまでした。
Don't worry about it. We had decent chat would shoulder the bill. You just heard my thoughts about it, so whatever.
でも、私から誘ったのに。
I'm just grateful for the sentiment. I had a really good time. You better invite me out again.
どうですか? いいんですか?
I nod. Finally, a smile adorns her face again. Together, we walk at a much slower pace compared to when we were on our way to the restaurant. The night sky is cloudy, with not a star in sight.
先生?
I turn and look down at her.
負担になっていませんか?
What?
先生がそんな大変な状況だと知らなかったから。
She stares down at her feet as she walks. She looks really crestfallen.
あの部屋にいるのが負担になるなら無理しないでください。いろいろ勝手なことを言ってしまった後ですけど。
I can't help but chuckle. But it's not a burden. Neither are you, actually. I trail off and think for a moment. That place is pretty comfortable. It's almost hard to believe. We walk for a while in silence after that.
居心地がいい。
When I turn to her, I see she's looking up at me. Reading his diary, I somehow felt like he was writing directly to me, the way I'm feeling right now. He wrote nothing about you or your mom. I got the impression it was an extremely personal diary, just so you know.
はい。
But, yeah. I'm not gonna come here and tell you that there was nothing wrong with that man. But I think he may be the one who understands me the best right now. Funnily enough. I feel the same anxiety and frustration, like a haze in my mind, a haze in my head too. It felt like he was putting to paper exactly the way I feel. But it's not a burden, really. I'm actually thankful to you for letting me be there.
そうですか。ならいいんですけど。
Her voice lowers to almost a whisper. I'll walk you home. We walk together in the night. We walk through the night together. I take frequent glances at the sky, but the clouds never clear up. I can see the yellowy glow of the moon around the edges of a particularly thick cloud. When we arrive at her apartment building, I look back at her. So, see you in class tomorrow.
はい。
I had a good time.
私もです。
Well, oyasumi. Oyasumi nasai.
先生、
Hmm? She slowly looks up at me.
先生が読んでいるものは命を絶つこと以外の道を見失った人間が書いたものです。
There's a distance between us. Rin sets her gaze in that space. I'm looking straight at her, but she keeps her head down, not meeting my eyes.
それだけは忘れないでください。
Street lights are distant. The moon is obscured. And yet, I can somehow see her face perfectly. Her features are as clear as day. It's like she's glowing with light of her own amid a sea of dark.
先生は死に向かうためにそれを読んでいるんじゃない。這いつくばってでも現実に帰ってくるために死を見に行っているんです。
Now she's meeting my gaze straight on. I feel like I'm getting lost in the brilliance of those rose-colored
おや
eyes.
すみなさい。また明日。
Yeah. She turns around, walks into the building without looking back. I stare after her for a while. I think upon her words as I make my way home. The memoirs of a person who lost sight of all paths but death. These words resound in my mind. But, in the end, isn't death the final destination for any human who has ever lived? Old and tired themes race around inside my head. How should we live? How should we die? It's true that Shuho chose death in the end. He actively rushed towards it. But was it really because he lost sight of the alternative? No one can know. Before I know it, I'm back home. In the mailbox, I find a letter from a law firm. I heave a sigh. A conversation with a dead and lightless Shuo. A meal with a young Rin. Each seemed like a contract between life and death. Both encounters had the same timeless, almost magical feel, as if destiny was speaking right into my ear. It's almost like I'm living another life. As soon as I step into the house, I'm suddenly pulled back into that pool of misery I've been swimming in for years. I wearily open the envelope. It contains the list of things to sell for the divorce. First and foremost, what to do with the house. Will one of us end up owning it, or will it be sold and the money distributed among us? It's all bullshit. I don't feel anything for this house. I'll give it to her if that's what she wants. That she can bring that lover of hers over and they can have their fun without worrying about what anyone might say. I'll lose what I deposited, but that doesn't mean I'll be hurting for money. I don't care if I'm living alone. The letter states that my replies must be in writing, by email or letter. Another sigh escapes my mouth. I want to get this over with as soon as possible. At the very least, I have the right to do whatever I want with my time. If I leave it all to the lawyers, I'll sign whatever they need, so long as they leave me be. I decided to answer that way. The lawyer can take care of this absolute pain of a situation. I just don't want to have anything to do with it. Putting the stuff from the lawyer's firm aside, I check the other envelopes. There are some for my wife, but most of it is just junk mail. I gather them all together and throw them into the garbage. There's one question that hasn't left my head today. What am I living for anymore? What am I trying to protect? I actually felt alive when I was with Rin, but all it takes is stepping into this place for my spirit to slowly degrade back to its miserable state. I keep repeating the same question to myself, knowing I have no answer. So far, I've just gone with the flow. But I can't think of any other reason than apathy. Nothing would be different in the world if I wasn't in it. Forget the world. Even here in this classroom, nothing would change. All I do is regurgitate grammar rules like a machine. I'm merely a spectator as my body teaches out of muscle memory. And I'm fed up. I don't want to keep sprouting words that won't reach a soul. As Shua said, I've lost something that cannot be recovered. By simply scraping by for so many years, I'm losing whatever it was that I should have expressed in writing all these years. I am well aware of this. Shuo is the one who showed me. I can't go back to it. Those days that when I could simply continue to exist as an incompetent teacher, reciting the same lines year after year, I don't want to go back to that. That soulless version of myself. I don't want to let Rin see me like that ever again. I can't even look Rin's way anymore. After work's done, I go straight back to the studio. Going home or the library is no longer an option. I'm desperate to get back to the studio as soon as possible. I'm on my way, I write. I press the send button. When I arrive in front of the building, I take out my phone again. The message has been read, but Rin hasn't responded. I wait there for a while, staring at the screen. I'm here. Can I go in? She reads the message and the reply comes a moment later. Sorry for the late reply. Go ahead. She responds. After reading her message, I step inside. I sit at Shuo's desk and continue where I left out yesterday. I'm sure Shuo would understand the turmoil I'm feeling. Yeah, just like I thought. I was thinking the same things. The words I'm looking for are right here. Only I'm aware of this emptiness that empty every day brings. No one around me realizes. The way they all ignore the context is almost frightening. If there's anything I've learned from selling books, it's that. The world is full of more blind people than I ever thought. It's thrilling. This is what he was thinking about. Writing books that anyone can understand is a good way to make dumb money. They fly off shelves, I would know. And then, there are the blind fools who fashion themselves as critics, and lambast your work with the smuggest of grins, and not an ounce of self-awareness. The kind of amateur that thinks the length of their criticisms are directly proportional to the quality of their arguments. All they know how to do is leash off the work of other people and reap the benefits like a swarm of parasites. It's so appalling and shameless that I'm almost impressed. Why don't they realize people don't have time for their long-winded drivel? How is it possible to write such garbage and sleep well at night? Why, they never even dare to sprout their garbage to my face. They annoy me to no end. They're scum of the earth. I keep turning the pages. His raw thoughts and complaints continue. Stop it. You think I don't torture myself enough for my writing? None of you will ever know the despair of printing 3 million copies of garbage prose. I'm as mad at the people around me who would greenlight such trash as I am at myself for writing it. That's why I keep rewriting it. Oh? So, that's the real reason behind the revisions that earned him the moniker of Winter. I keep turning the pages. This exceeds whatever excitement I might have felt reading any of his novels. I'll never forget the panic. Sorry, okay, my brain's dying. I'll never forget the panic on their faces. The moment I did all those revisions and prohibited them from putting the old versions on the shelves. One after the other, they came to try and persuade me. All of them blew in the face from repeating themselves. For a while after that, all the publishers were scared. It's like a stubborn kid. The corners of my mouth twitch into a smile. I can't bring myself to hate on their earnest impulsiveness. But after a while, they got used to even that. This is it. I see it now. Human beings are made to conform to being unhappy. At some point, I became hopelessly numb to my own lack of happiness. What's at the end of that road for us? The more we live, the more we become one misery. The longer we remain in this mortal coil, the more misery seeps into our souls. Isn't that a more absolute suffering than even death? Knowing all living things are headed this way, is there any meaning? Is there a meaning to life itself? Is there anything that matters? I know the answer. No, there's not. The writing doesn't hide his altered state of mind. He wrote the last part many times, but each iteration looks more erratic and error-filled. This is all of him, Chuho. This is what he should have shown to the public. He should have abandoned his pride and laid down all that weakness and anger for everyone to see. Maybe he admitted to himself the danger being inflicted upon him by the thoughtless criticism of those who didn't even understand his struggle. Maybe he wouldn't have lied his way through the grave. If the world had known the Shuho, maybe they wouldn't have driven him off that cliff. The next page was written on the following day. I changed the bindings of all my works, but there was one I had to keep the same, my debut work. Karagicho? I used to go to Yokohama a lot back in my college days. When you leave Takadano Baba in the afternoon, the sun is beginning to set by the time you reach Route 1. By the time you make it to Sakuragucho, it's already night, so it feels like you step into a whole other country. When I gaze out at the cityscape at night, feeling tired from the travel and excited to be there, I truly felt like I wanted to be someone, to be famous enough that I couldn't walk around the city, not even with all the money in the world. That's the place where I decided I'd get everything anyone ever wants. I had no doubt in my mind that I had talent and capabilities to make it happen, but I was wrong. How wrong I was. I wasn't shallow enough to just enjoy the throne once I sat upon it, not by a long shot. I was wrong about everything. That was not what I truly wanted. I wasn't in another country. I just crossed into another prefecture, where all my mistakes began. I always harbored the thought that maybe I could go back there and start over. That place, that view, for me it's like a monument. A monument? A monument to his regret? Wait, I'll be right back. I need to grab some water. Alright, bro. Back. I find myself smiling. It's just a coincidence. But it goes to show how small the world is. The Sakuragicho Observatory. I got memories from that place as well. Back when Shuko and I were still dating. That was the first place we visited together as a couple. Before that, we only met for lunch. That was the very same Sakuragicho. Now, I could say that place is a monument to my regret as well. Might have more in common than I ever thought. I turn the next page and see his writing is turned manic again. It seems like he had days where he enjoyed creating trouble for those around him, just for the heck of it. In that sense, Shuho wasn't ignorant of social norms. He just enjoyed breaking the mold, to what I'm sure was the dismay of his publishing company. He never hesitated to do what he wanted. It almost seems like he feared being thought of as ordinary. As I lose myself in reading and forget the time, my phone vibrates. It's a message from Rin. Sorry for messaging so much. Perhaps we could meet today. Sorry for messaging so much? They're so... Oh yeah, well that's... Yeah. I remember how they're like that. It's just kind of weird reading in English because it feels so apologetic, but like that's just how they are. So sorry for messaging so much, she says. Perhaps we could meet today. Maybe she's still worried about me. I'd love to, I respond. I press the send button. He reads it right away. If it's okay, I'd like to cook today. Oh wait. Then, this time, she answers immediately. She wants to cook? In her apartment? I wonder how to respond. I'll be waiting in the same spot yesterday. I'll be there in 15 minutes. I think back on yesterday. Her saying she'll be there in 15 minutes probably means she's already there. Got it, I respond. I send a message and stand up. Just as I predicted, she's already by the entrance, not even 10 minutes later. When I walk up to her, she greets me with a slight bow.
Konnichiwa.
Hey, as usual, she's holding her bag with both hands. So, we're going grocery shopping now?
いえ、昨日買っておきました。
I look down at her as we walk side by side. Yesterday, she nods. You went out
ネッ
again?
トスーパーで注文しておきました。
Oh yeah, she's loaded. Thanks, guys. She's loaded. I forgot. Huh?
便利ですよ。何でも届けてくれるから。
I would have gone to the store with you if you told me.
そうしたら昨日みたいにまた先生が払うでしょ。
She says before glancing up at me and giggling. I just sigh and shake my head. Let me settle the bill later. I can't just let you pay. I'm the one with the job.
社会通念は先生の専門外じゃなかったでしたっけ？
You also have to remember, Rin is getting money from her dad's royalties, hopefully. Rin's tone is playful and cheery. I heave a sigh. Okay, I'll let you treat me today, but next time you're gonna tell me in advance. I'm not broke or anything.
じゃあ次は先生に甘えます。
It's my second time at Rin's place. It's as neat and tidy as I remember it. Though there doesn't seem to be much in this house to make a mess out of in the first
ち
place.
ょっと待っていてください。そんなに時間はかかりません。
Sure, thanks. Rin goes to the kitchen. I can see her at the kitchen counter from my spot in the living room. She's washing her hands. Did your dad have a room in this house?
一応たまにしか帰ってきませんでしたけど、あの仕事場に住んでいたようなものです。
I see.
私の部屋と父の部屋と本がしまってある部屋。
So, 3 rooms beside the living room. Pretty spacious place. I'd wager there's not a lot of people Rin's age living in a place like this on their own.
ちょっと待っていてくださいね。本が読みたかったら見てもらってもいいですから。
Nah, I'm fine. I can help you cook if you want.
大丈夫です。簡単なものですから。
She takes out meat and vegetables from the fridge. I bet she's gonna make curry, man. I bet she's making curry.
座っていてください。何か飲みますか？一応飲み物も買っておきました。
Don't worry, I'll just wait. And so I sit down at the table and wait. I notice a book sitting on the table on the side where Rin usually sits. You were reading Akutagawa. He half turns my way and glances at the table.
先生におすすめされた作家を読んでいたら、古いものが読みたくなって。
Oh, that's good. I pick up the book and flip through the pages. Did you know that Akutagawa Ryunosuke went to Shiga Naoya for guidance? He turns to me and gives me a thoughtful look.
そうなんですか？
Keeping my eyes on the book, I nod. The story goes that Akutagawa felt he hit a wall when he turned 30 after becoming famous in his 20s. He also got sick around that time. The two of them were 10 years apart, actually. And there was a period where Shiga stopped writing novels. The so-called god of the novel had a period of 3 years where he didn't write a thing. Story says that Akutagawa went to him around that time. Both of them were authors who showed their true value in short projects rather than long, winding ones. Rin interjects with nods as I talk. And when the two of them met, Akutagawa told Higa that he didn't see himself as a novelist, and that he couldn't write.
芥川龍之介が？
Perhaps he was able to be that honest because he felt they were in the same situation, kindred spirits and all that. Funny, isn't it? I mean, Akutagawa can't write. Then who in the world can?
そうですね。
But it goes to show just how serious the roadblock was in his mind. And Akutagawa Ryunosuke also killed himself in the end. I flip through the pages. I find a bookmark on the last page of Rashomon. Oh, okay, this is a classic. You read Rashomon?
はい。何度も読みたくなるの。不思議と。
I know the feeling. I go to the first page of the short story. He had a little choice of means, whether faint or foul because of his helpless circumstances. You could say that this was the plea of Akutagawa himself.
先生はどうして古文を教えているんですか？
I raise my eyes from the pages and look back at her in the kitchen. Huh?
現代文の方が好きですよね。絶対。
I feel a bitter smile spreading on my face. Doing what you love for a living isn't always the best choice. Many writers have shown us that, including your dad. Rin gives a slight nod and carries on preparing the meal. We continue reading Rashomon, the clinking of utensils against pots in the background.
口に合うといいんですけど。
He lays the table with the large black porcelain plates. The comparatively small portions of food in each of them add to the luxurious air of the whole arrangement. Maybe she's doing deconstructed whatever, you know? It's like a Michelin star restaurant. Huge ass plate, totally nothing at all. Portions of sizes of food. With fucking arrangement and all that nonsense. This must have cost her an arm and leg. This sounds fancy. That sounded fancy to me. And in front of me, she places a huge wine glass. Damn, she rich, man. Oh yeah, she is literally rich. It's the kind of glass designed to let you enjoy the bouquet of the expensive red wine while you drink it. Definitely not the kind you expect a student living alone to own. How did you buy all of this? I place a finger on the rim of the wine glass. You can't just buy this on your own, right?
そうなんですか? 私が飲むわけじゃないのに?
They make you verify your age. If a person looks as young as you do, they would be asked to provide verification even if they were 20 or above.
知らなかった。父の個人事務所のカードで買ったから。
What? Like a company credit card? He adds this reticent nod. She looks like a little girl who can't comprehend the reason behind an adult's anger.
この前先生が同僚の人とは飲みに行くって話していたから好きなのかなと思ったんですけど。
I let out one tired sigh. So that's it. This is where the difference in upbringing comes in.
怒ってます。
No. Shake my head firmly. I had no intention of preaching to you. This is her apartment, I remind myself. It's strange for me to even be here in the first place. It's just that I look over the fancy dishes lined up on the table. In a sense, these gorgeously decorated and succulent looking dishes say a lot about what her normal standard is. I think spending money like this to treat people isn't going to do you much good in the long run.
はい。
It's been 20 years since I started earning my own money. I don't think I've bought anything as expensive as this wine for myself. Have you ever earned your own money? Her gaze fixed on the table. She shakes her head. Then you're not treating me here. Rather, I feel like Hatanashu was the one inviting me for dinner. That's probably not what you want, is it? She looks up at me and down again and nods. I know you made this with the best intentions, so I'm sorry for making you feel bad over trying to do something nice. Also, let me pay for the cost. I want to pay.
すみません。
Come on, look at me. I appreciate the sentiment. It just doesn't have to be this fancy. Remember, today and one day, when you're making your own money, you can try treating me again. Hell, it doesn't even have to be me. I'm sure you'll understand how nice it feels to treat someone with the fruits of your own labor efforts by then. I suddenly remembered some of my peers, man. It still hurts my brain when I remember some of my peers. They're fucking 30 plus years old and they still rely on their parents' money, man. They don't earn their own money. Fuck. Anyway, never mind. Sorry. That was really personal. But it suddenly hurt my brain when I remembered when I was reading this line. Anyway. She nods in silence. How about we set the wine aside for tonight?
はい。
Everything tastes great. The professional look of the food actually matches the quality as far as I can tell. Then again, it's my first time eating duck and watercress hot pot, so maybe I'm not such a good judge. But I can say the flavor is miles more sophisticated than whatever I had with watanabe in that cramped bar. I wonder about the recipe, and I feel a pang of pain in my heart, imagining Rin carefully choosing this dish from her repertoire and painstakingly selecting each ingredient just for me. Maybe I should have swallowed my pride and accepted her goodwill without complaint. I glance at her, see her looking down, looking heartbroken as she slowly carries the food to her mouth with chopsticks. I'm such a piece of trash. If I were a better man, I could have gotten my message across without hurting her like this. We go on eating, an awkward silence hanging heavy between us. Thank you. That was delicious.
本当ですか?
I nod. It was so good, I almost couldn't believe it, really. Let me help you wash the dishes.
いいです。こんなことになった上にそこまで先生にさせたら情けなくて本当に泣いてしまいます。
I really didn't mean to.
でも先生の言う通りですね。自分の力じゃこんな家に住めるわけがないし、そもそも今の学校にも通えない。私立の学費が払えるわけないですから。
You don't need to blame yourself like that. I'd say you have a very rough time without any of your parents around.
自分の居場所じゃないとか言いながら、しっかりこの場所に頼りきっている自分に気づいて、すごく落ち込みます。
All of your classmates are pampered by their parents, even if you don't realize it. Even I was that way. It's not bad to be supported by your parents. It's something we all go through. You had to grow up fast because of your circumstances, but it's not fair to be harsh on yourself. Don't worry so much.
子供だと思われた気がします。
Oh no no no! What do you want me? What do you want to be seen as? As a woman and a man? Oh shit! Well, we already know that's gonna happen, but like, I want to see the progression, the build up, and all that shit. Me? She upturns her eyes at me and nods. When I'm unable to hold back the laughter, she glances up at me, an indignant look tensing her muscles.
なんで笑うんですか?
Oh, sorry. It's just that, well, considering how far apart we are in age, I thought that was a given. Besides, we're teacher and student too.
そんなの関係ないですよ。
Oh yeah, here we go!
生徒と教師の立場なら、先生がここにいるのがまずおかしいじゃないですか。
I think I dug my own grave here, big time. She's absolutely right. It's awfully funny for Rin to be the one lecturing me in this situation. Guess I'm a joke of a social outcast. It's just as you say, I suppose. We're all mad here. No need to take that seriously.
違う、そういう話じゃないんです。でも、
Rin wavers for a second, then swallows her words. I take up and take my bag. She watches me anxiously. Let me pay before I forget. And let's try not to dwell on what happened tonight, okay? I'll pay for the ingredients, that's that. And leave this behind us. If you think you learned something from today and it helps you improve, nothing would make this outcast happier.
はい。
Ren shows me the details of the purchase on the screen of her phone. I mentally gulp upon seeing it. Back when I was a student, I could have gotten by a whole month with this kind of money. And it's probably more than half of total went on the wine alone. At least my wallet in a precarious state, but I managed to pay up. It's not even an amount I normally carry with me. In a sense, I guess I was lucky. I would have been really lame to not be able to pay after all that. I hand the money over as casually as possible, so she doesn't realize how I'm kicking myself on the inside.
すみません。こんな形でお金を払わせてしまって。
I get it. You're rich, Rin. It's okay. We're all square now. I'm repeating myself, but I'm gainfully employed, you know. Spending this amount isn't gonna affect me. Don't overthink it.
ごちそうさまでした。
No, I want to thank you. It was really delicious. I put my much lighter wallet back in my bag.
お茶を入れてもいいですか? 飲んでいってくれますか? 私のお金で買ったものじゃないですけど。
I nod. I'll have some, thanks. After taking my time to enjoy tea, I get ready to go home. Rin never seemed to regain her pep in the end.
今日は本
No
当
more,
に
no more apologies, okay? You didn't do anything wrong. Actually, I'm sorry for souring the mood. I hope you can forgive me. She shakes her head. Oyasumi nasai.
はい。おやすみなさい。また明日、
Ashita?
学校で。
Oh yeah. I answer with a nod. Yeah. I'll see her again tomorrow in that classroom. See you tomorrow. Mata ashita. Alright, here's the POV I've been waiting. That was so pathetic. I almost broke into tears on the spot. It was so embarrassing. I didn't even know what to say. I couldn't reply to anything. It was so frustrating. I'm so mortified and embarrassed. The last thing I wanted to show him was a childish blunder like that. I go back to the living room and sit at the table. I'm sure the first thing he felt when he stepped into this house was Hatano Shuho's shadow. And maybe that's something he didn't want to see. It was so insensitive of me. And I was acting so confident, talking like I know everything. But he still managed to uncover all of that and put the kitty hat firmly back on my head. Oh no, the kitty hat! I feel so restless. I can't figure out what my heart's telling me. I never felt this way before. Oh, I see. This is the first time anyone has ever gotten angry at me. If I had a father and a mother, do people living under the same roof get mad at each other like this? And they keep on living together? Maybe I'm the one that's not normal. I don't know. I can't figure it out. I doubt I'll learn much from reading Hatano Shuho's workbooks. In front of me, resting on the table, there's a collection of stories by Akutagawa Ryunosuke. I open the little paperback. I go to the opening page of Rashomon. Rereading it has become somewhat of a habit of mine. Because of his helpless circumstances.
手段を選んでいるいとまはないか。
After the dinner would end, I find it hard to take my mind off her. I keep wondering whether I took the right attitude today. She looks so down the whole night. This is the second time she's gotten emotional in front of me. First time was when we went to Shuho's studio. She cried that day. She asked me to save her, looking back tears as her voice lowered to a murmur. The memory is still fresh in my mind. Oh, I realized I'm already 3 hours. 12 a.m. Fuck! Alright, let's keep going, guys. I don't know how long this gets for this case, so let's keep going. Today, the situation was completely different. It wasn't that serious to begin with. Children who feel rejected by their parents, but are still unable to live without their support, are often overcome by feelings of powerlessness. It's a tale as old as time. But is it really the same magnitude as the absolute shock and devastation she must have felt finding her father dead in a bathtub? Despite everything, she took what happened today in stride, in her own way. It just seems like the fact that the eating went so differently to how she envisioned made her really embarrassed and upset. Her sadness that day was caused by Shuho, and in a sense, I'm the one who caused it today. That thought makes me strangely happy. My words are touching her heart. That fact makes me happy. Back home, I find another letter from my wife's lawyer waiting for me. It's about some documents that need my signature. Look at the declaration of consent. Something about me accepting the conditions they declare. I'm completely sick of it. My time with Rin and my time at Shuho's studio both seem to rejuvenate my heart. I feel closer to that than ever with Shuho. I have never felt more alive than when I'm with Rin. The sharp contrast between them only highlights them more starkly within my mind. I feel like I'm somehow being honed by the two of them, making me sharper, more sensitive to what I'm feeling and my surroundings. And this house just tries to dull that edge. Everything in this house clings to me, slows me down to a crawl. It's so awful, I can barely stand it. But I'm sure that when morning comes, I'll buckle down and sign this paper. And I'll carefully put it in the return envelope and send it away. Then I'll change into a fresh set of clothes and go to work. And a shirt I wash and iron myself. Although no one is forcing me to do it. I'll change to the clothes that make me gainfully employ the doll I told Rin about and go to work. I won't feel alive like I do when I talk with Rin in her apartment. I'll spend another day in vain. What I'm going to work for. But then, why am I even doing this? What am I trying to protect? I have nothing anymore. But why am I going back to this miserable and colorless existence? I'm teaching Rin's class today. When I'm here, my words can't reach her. No, that's not quite right. The words coming out of my mouth in this classroom aren't my own. Even if they literally come out of me, they won't ever reach her. Not really. And I realize that I'm starting to hate it. I really don't want Rin to see this side of me. The whole thing about changing myself, that I would even be able to. I'm beginning to think it's possible. Or at least I want it to be.
やっと1週間が終わった。
It's lunch break. As usual, I'm smoking with Watanabe. I shift my eyes from the slowly rising smoke and turn to him. No classes this afternoon?
もう試験範囲終わったし、あとは演習させとくだけ。
I see.
もうすぐだね。
Huh?
夏休み。
Oh, yeah. The end of term ceremony is almost upon
ど
us.
こか行ったりするの？
Nah, I don't really have any plans.
1ヶ月半だよ。さすがに暇じゃない？あれか。有島先生には本屋さんでもあればそれで全然問題ないのか。
I guess that was the case until last year. I seem to spend most of my summer breaks in libraries. I didn't have any work to do, and my wife wasn't home most of the time. Just read books at my own leisure. And before I even knew it, the second semester would have already started. But I wonder about this year. I'm planning to keep reading what Shuha left behind, but maybe Ren will be away for a while. I remember that she came to the wake for her dad's teacher. Possible she has other family events to attend. If we get the chance to talk again, I'll ask about her plans for this summer.
お土産買ってきてあげるね。
What?
だから旅行行ってくるから屋久島に。
Oh? Who with?
俺の話聞いてた？
I see also smoke and nod.
なんですぐバレる嘘つくんだよ。
When I leave work for the day, I get in contact with Ren. I see the conversation from yesterday on the upper part of the screen. I think about the dinner she prepared so carefully for me, and which I ruined. For there to be a next time, I'll probably have to be the one inviting her out. But maybe it's too soon after yesterday. When I'm thinking, a reply from her comes in. It's just the usual okay. I keep floundering on whether to ask her plans for tonight, and even write a draft, but I end up not sending anything. I step into the room again and take a deep breath. The oppressive, stagnant air fills my lungs. This place makes me feel at ease. When I'm here, I'm free from the shackles of the world outside. I don't have appearances to keep up. I don't have to pretend like I care about my work. I remember my dinner with Rin. Now that I think about it, neither she nor her mother appear anywhere in these diaries. I read months' worth of entries at this point, and not a single page mentions Rin, even in passing. I feel my eyes getting tired and look away from the pages. I take my phone out of my pocket. It's about 8 p.m. The last 2 days, Rin invited me out around this hour. I wonder if I fractured our relationship with my criticism yesterday. I stared at the static screen for a while, and stowed it back into my pocket, and continued reading the diaries. But soon, my eyes are glazing over and nothing sticks with me. I keep pulling out my phone and opening my chat with Rin. He hasn't said anything. I'll go home for today. I sent her a message as I locked the door on my way out. She replies straight away. Good job. What? That's, okay, that's like a whatever reply. That's all. The silence at home is becoming more and more agonizing. I stare down at the lunchbox I got from the conbini. It feels so strange. This is how I've had dinner for most of my marriage. Alone in the living room, eating with a spoon in one hand and a book in the other. The day my wife left this house was the first day I shared a meal with Rin. It only happened twice. We've only eaten together those 2 times. Yet losing that is making me feel so... well, lost. It's making me feel so more lonely than my wife's departure did. I've been alone for the last 20 years. Yet, it's like I'm only starting to feel it now. I keep wondering how Rin's day is going. Do her thoughts keep turning to yesterday like mine do? I start hating myself as usual. These worries I'm having are more like what someone Rin's age might have. I look around the living room, digging to my heels and trying to argue would be a pain. Besides, I can't deny that I'm wrong. I'm in the wrong. This place will probably not be my home for much longer. I no longer have any appearances to keep up. If I prefer spending time with Rin to eating alone, all I have to do is invite her out. So, what if I'm the teacher and she the student? That's just one aspect of the positions we happen to be in right now. A label that doesn't have anything to do with us as individuals. Okay, whatever. I'm sure Rin must be thinking the same way. I'm pretty sure she did voice that out yesterday, okay? She wanted to spend time with me after all. It's Friday. Tomorrow, I can spend the whole day at Shuo's studio. And then I'll invite Rin out to dinner. Give me a second. Alright, you know what? I'll keep going now. As soon as I leave home, I drop her a message letting her know I'm heading to the studio, but I receive no response from her. When I reach the apartment complex, I slow down my pace. I decide not to go in until she gives me permission. I feel like it's important to keep at least that boundary. I check my phone. She hasn't even read the message yet. I lean on the wall by the entrance and wait for a while. I'm here. 20 minutes have passed since I sent the last message. She still hasn't read it. Residents will come and go in front of me. I'm going to draw attention to myself if I keep hanging around here. It's not like I'm doing anything wrong, but I decide to go somewhere else while I wait for a response. After a short walk, I find a diner. There are a few families waiting to be seated by the entrance, but I get to go in first, since there's a table for 2 free. I get myself some coffee with a free refill machine and take a look around the place before sitting down. That's all families enjoying the weekend as far as the eye can see. I wonder what it means to be a dad. The thought just pops into my head. I feel like all men sitting here with their families must have the answer to that question. They all look younger than me, about the same age as Watanabe, I'd say. But they undoubtedly have the air of fatherhood about them. I wonder at what point a father gets that fatherly look. It's not like men go through physical ordeal that women undergo to give it birth. If you spend every day with your child, does that actually make you a father in this time? Look at the families enjoying themselves. I realized that I'll probably never have a weekend like this in my life, considering my future prospects. I turned my attention to my phone and pressed the power button to light up the screen. There are no new messages. She hasn't even read them. This is the first time I've gone so long without an answer from her. What is Rin doing right now? The smoke from the mini grill blows up into my face. Don't tell me she decided to get a part-time job. I guess that's what she did. I have a feeling that's what she did. Is it ready? I cut the sausage in half and spear each piece with a toothpick, just like they showed me. Oh, she did get a job. Oh my god, she did get a job. Oh my god, she really taking it to her. She really. Oh my god. I'm honestly wowed. Honestly, I'm honestly wowed. But like, she really took that. She really took it into her heart. Like what he said, you know. All right. I got distracted for a bit. Okay. I carefully served them up on one of the small plastic plates I was told to use. I raise my face from the plate and look ahead. I'm behind the food counter in the supermarket. Everyone's walking by slowly, looking at the food and offer. I take a deep breath. My timid words disappear into the bustle of the store. No one stops to look. I'm so hopeless. The sausages I cooked are getting cold. Are going cold. I look back and see the nice man who showed me the ropes of the job this morning. I like how the guy also. I like how the guy who said those words feels like some guy who's also equally shy. Sounded like an equally shy dude. I got so spooked, I almost missed what he said entirely. After saying that, the man walks onto the sales floor shouting "Irashaimase" really loudly. He's shouting, but no one reacts to him. I see. Right now, I'm just part of the furniture. My voice is like background music of the background music of the supermarket. I take another deep breath. Oh my god. You Asagawa, you're so good at this shit, man. I guess she's my favorite BA at this point. Anyway. I don't even see the old lady who's walked up in front of me until she's already there. I find it curious that she asks if she can have some when she's already grabbed a sausage. She pops some sausage in her mouth, throws a plastic plate in the trash, and leaves. When I raise my voice, a balding old man approaches and takes a sample. He's wearing a jacket with an unusual amount of pockets. Okay, that's very interesting. I wonder if he uses all of those. While I wonder about his jacket, he takes the sausage and eats it. I made a sale. The man who just sampled the sausages purchased some. I'm actually doing my job now. I watch him walk by, then keep going. A resolve renewed. I open the next bag of sausages while I shout, cut them up, and begin cooking them up on the mini grill. Wow. By the time the sun sets, I still haven't received a reply from Rin. I finished reading the book I thankfully thought to bring with me. It's a little past 6 p.m. I put down my collection of Akutagawa's word stories and take a look around the diner again. The customers are different, but what hasn't changed is the happy, cheerful bustle of families having a good time together. I feel completely removed from it all. I like how people can stay in a diner for like fucking hours, man. It's like those dudes who stay at Starbucks the entire or a coffee shop for the entire fucking day, ordering one coffee, one cup of something, then just reading a book for several hours. So shameless. If I lose Shuo's studio, will the rest of the world become this unfamiliar and uncomfortable for me? How on earth did I manage to live until today? How did I keep myself insane? Perhaps just having a family, even if it was the faint illusion of one. Perhaps that's what kept me stable all these years. But all of that is gone now. Without contact with Rin and access to that room, it's like I'm not connected to anything in the whole world. I'll let out a small, inaudible sigh as I leave my seat. Even when the sun goes down, it's still hot and humid outside. Feeling a little silly for not having dinner. While I was in a diner, I sigh. As I walk, I feel my phone vibrate in my pocket. I stop and take it out and stare at the screen. It's a message from Rin. Are you free tonight? I simply stare at the message for the moment. My heart starts beating a little faster. Oh! I think he likes that better. It's like every single damn thought he had, it was like, oh, okay, this sounds great. It's kind of sad and funny that such a simple message can make me react like this. I just feel so pathetic for clinging to Ring like this. But the excitement is so great, I can't contain it. I do. Let's have dinner together, I write. And I press the send button. The message is marked as read as soon as I send it. It takes another moment for her to respond. I'll be waiting at the usual spot. Below the message. She said, oh my god, she sent a sticker. That's so cute. And below her message, there's an image of a little bird dressed up as a Daruma doll. A Java Sparrow. Did Rin send this? Does it mean she's in a good mood? I stowed the phone back in my pocket and rushed to the usual spot. My guy got motivated here. I go on a light jog and find her standing like always, holding shopping bag with both hands. Oh, nice. She's wearing a dress. Thank God she's wearing a dress. Oh my God. We haven't seen her wear a dress, okay? She's holding a supermarket bag instead of her usual bag. When she sees me, she looks surprised. That was the plan. She tilts her head to the side in confusion. I wanted to wait until you give me the okay to go in. Her eyes open wide as the realization dawns upon her. I figured it's really your apartment now. I mean your studio now. So I wouldn't want to trespass. I nod. It's fine. It wasn't a bad weekend. He lets out one of those cute giggles. Well, when you think about it, it feels kind of dumb, man. But you know how the sensei is like. Some diner around here. I glance down at the bag she's carrying. And you, went shopping? She gives me a small nod. Then she flashes me a meaningful smile. Huh? She looks up at me, smiling her face only growing bigger. I take another look at the bag she's holding. The plastic bag with this logo of a major retailer is full of what I assume are ingredients. You want to cook again? She gives one firm nod and lifts the bag a little. Your money? She nods enthusiastically. I am sitting at Rin's table again. She's in the kitchen, sorting the ingredients as she takes them out. Wait, I want to take a screenshot of something earlier. Okay, I'm sorry. I want to do a screenshot. Okay. Backlog simulating. Okay.
それならいいでしょ。
She's in the kitchen, sorting the ingredients as she takes them out of the bag. By your own money? You mean... He turns my way and gives me a bright smile.
アルバイトしてきました。
Oh no. She became a Baito senshi. Holy shit. Baito? I repeat her words back like a parrot.
続ける必要がなくてすぐにお金をもらえて、学生でも働ける仕事って意外となくて。
Why so sudden? She raises her face, turns her eyes to me. It's already 12:30, 12:40, but I'm gonna keep going, even if how many yawns I go through, man. I'm not yawning because I'm bored. I'm just so sleep deprived. But for the story, I'm gonna go through it, man.
先生が言ったんじゃないですか。
Yeah, but I wasn't expecting you to do it the next day.
おかしいですか。
Nah, it's just surprising. A welcome surprise.
よかった。先生の驚いた顔が見られただけでもやった甲斐がありました。
Rin teases me as she takes out carrots, onions, and potatoes. Okay, it's gonna be curry. It's gonna be curry, man. I already see the pattern. What kind of job?
試食販売。
You? Really? She frowns at me.
何ですか。
Nothing. It's just that her yelling at people to try food samples. It's a little hard to imagine. Just kind of hard to imagine you working in a supermarket. You know, such a bustling place and all. That's not really your scene, is it?
それじゃダメだと思ってアルバイトしてみたんですよ。先生が言ったんじゃないですか。
She sounds displeased. I'm so thoroughly schooled that I can't help but laugh. Yeah, you're right. Prejudice is bad. There's nothing wrong with that kind of work. What were you giving out the samples of?
ウインナー。
She takes a pack of wieners from the bag and holds it up for me to see. You bought those? She nods.
なんか愛着が湧いちゃって。
Did you have fun? She gives a vague nod.
最初すっごくストレスでしたけど、最後は少し細かいことで結構怒られるし、声が小さいって何度も言われるし。
I can't help but chuckle.
でも確かに先生の言っていたことは分かりました。
How so?
自分で稼いだお金で買い物をするのは確かにちょっと楽しかった。大したものは買えなかったですけど。
Are you sure you want to spend your first paycheck on making food for me?
当たり前ですよ。先生に振る舞うために稼いできたんですから。
Bro, at this point, you should have taken the hint, right? This is like a big ass hint, man. You should know what it means. She beams at me. I'm honored.
あのワイン、ずいぶん高いものだったんですね。すみません、払わせてしまって。お金を稼ぐのって本当大変。
As I laugh out loud, Rin blushes fiercely.
先生、今日は何なんですか？さっきから私のことバカにしてる？
No way, I would never. Oh, that's so cute of Rin, man. She glares at me like a cat about to pounce. You're just too sweet. That does nothing to loosen her sulky expression. I'm really happy that you took my words to heart and are trying to improve yourself. It makes me feel like I still have some kind of bond connecting me with something. Her expression changes to one of surprise as she stares at me. I'll accept your kindness today. Thank you, really. After staring at me for a moment, a smile slowly crosses her face. Looks like that did the trick. Fuck, wait.
はい。
I watched her at work in the kitchen for a while. As I do, I feel my nervous heart slowly regain its normal beat. Keeps us cooking in silence. Watching her go to and from makes a kind of affection that I never felt before swell in my heart. Want me to take a guess? About what you're cooking? She looks at me clearly surprised. Kare. Her eyes widen for a moment, and then she laughs.
正解
Bro, it's not that hard! You can tell from the smell and the ingredients. I figured.
だって飽きないんでしょ作るのも簡単だし材料も安いし
Don't think I'll ever have enough of curry. It's good because you can eat it with one hand. I always read a book with the other. Jimbocha style.
初めて聞きましたよ
Rin giggles as she stares at the big pot. I can help if you want. I really don't mind.
カレーくらい小学生だって作れますよおとなしく待っていてください
Gotcha. She giggles and I get comfortable in my seat.
お口に合うといいんですけど
She presents me with a plate of curry with rice and a huge bowl of salad. She also sets down the plate with a bunch of fried wieners in the middle of the table. It looks delicious. For some reason, she laughs.
褒めてるんですかそれで
I'm pretty sure it was.
まあカレーならなかなかまずく作れないですよね
Rin, I want you to think about this carefully. Don't say it's hard to mess up curry. You better go for it. You can make a good damn ass curry, no matter how simple the basic ingredients are. I mean, making like super great curry is like light years from like basic ass curry. But getting to the point where you get curry to like something really good, yeah, that's really hard. That's really hard as fuck. Anyway, you'd be surprised. I had my share of bad curry over the years. It's quite possible to make bad curry, as unlikely as it sounds.
それで
Yours looks really delicious. Or has the best looking curry I've ever seen. I fucking hate this fucking VN, man. She laughs out loud.
フォローしてくれたんですよねきっと
She quirks an amused little smile. Helpless, I simply nod.
ありがとうございます 食べましょうか先生が昔食べた驚くほどまずいカレーよりは美味しいといいんですけど
We'll see about that.
はい
I take a spoonful and bring it to my mouth.
どうですか
It's really damn good!
市販のカレー粉なのに
No, it's really good. I'm not lying. I really am not. This time. This time. It's way better than the stew from last time. With her eyes still on me, she blushes a little.
よかった
I've been eating out for years. It's been so long since I tasted real home cooking.
数年
It warms my cockles. I mean it. It's really good.
それはそれは
I take another bite and don't stop. She slowly eats away at her plate too. I glance at the wieners lined up in the middle of the table. And the wieners are a nice bonus.
はい今日だけで一生分のウインナーを焼いた気がする
I sure wasn't expecting them along with Kare.
だって私は食べてないんだもん何百本も焼いたのに
Makes sense. I stab one with my fork and take it to my mouth. She does the same and slowly savors it. So, how is it?
驚くほど
Huh?
普通
We both laugh together for a while. After we're finished, I wash the dishes. You make dinner with your first ever paycheck. Let me do this much.
いいのに
Rin watches distractedly as I wash the dishes. As I finish, I notice the package of instant coffee on the kitchen table. Oh, coffee. Mind if I make some?
はい先生が飲むかなと思って買ってきたので
Really? She
い
nods.
ただきます
I see the mug I used last time, and Rin's mug on the draining board. I line up the cups and set the drip bags in them. After adding a little bit of cold water to cool it, I poured the hot water between them.
なんで水を足すんですか？
I read that if the water's too hot, it ruins the scent. It depends. It's a big depends.
へえ、そうなんだ。
No, it's a big depends. By the way, it's a big depends. I don't really mind when I'm making it just for myself, though. I tell her with a sad smile. Well, anyway, I hope you enjoy my special instant coffee. I'm very particular about it. She giggles at that.
心していただきます。
We sit facing each other at the table again.
今日も父の日記を読みに来たんですよね。
I nod. That was the plan.
そんなに面白いんですか？毎日読みたくなるくらい。
It's strange. We never met, but it feels really familiar somehow. If I'd known we were so alike, I would have dropped my stupid stubbornness and talked to him when we were in college.
こだわり？先生のですか？
Back then, I wanted to get my debut novel published too. He was the one who made that dream come true right in front of me. I didn't want to be one more in the crowd just looking up at him. I was probably thinking that I was the only one among us who was seriously thinking of getting my stuff published and making a debut. Suddenly, that little self-depreciating demon speaks to my ear. I suppose I was thinking that I should at least win some rookie award before talking to him, so we could be on equal footing and all that.
だから学生時代の父のことを知らなかったんですね。同じゼミなのに。
I nod. That was more than 20 years ago. And in the end, I never managed to stand on equal terms with him. Actually, I don't think anyone can ever stand on his level anymore. I was the only one to face him after his death. I'm just sympathizing with the statue of the man that was. I think it could have only happened on these terms. Ironic, isn't it?
私は
I raise my head as she murmurs.
父が高みに行ったとは思いません。確かに父の商品はよく売れたし、そのおかげで私はこんな広い部屋に住めている。そのありがたみも今日よく分かった。
Rin squints through the smoke rising from her mug.
でも彼が私に届けたのは私が生まれたことを悔いている言葉だけ。それしか私には届いていない。そんな人が何かの高みにいるとは私には思えない。
I stay silent for a while. Being a successful and acclaimed writer has little to do with how virtuous one is as a person. He turns her eyes up to me and nods. I know where you're coming from. But Hatano's Shuho was...
先生、
After gently cutting me off, she shakes her head.
先生に私の気持ちがわかるわけがない。ごめんなさい。そもそも私があそこに先生を連れて行ったのに。でも先生がこんな風に父に傾倒していくとは思ってなかったんです。
You want me to say it was an overrated writer? That in the end, it was just a bad person? I'm not blaming you for rightfully feeling the way you do. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think repeating the same criticism and blanket writing him out as a completely horrible person will help you move on either. I don't think that will help you at all. Staring down at the mug in front of her, I heave a tired sigh. Today she went to work with the express intent of earning money to treat me to dinner with. Why does it always end on a sour note because of my big mouth? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to spoil the nice eating. I just really think you need to overcome that. She raises her face and looks at me. Even if he was a failure as a parent, even if he was a guy who got a woman he didn't love pregnant, even if his words don't speak to you on any level, the fact that his writing has saved many people is still true. And I believe the things he achieved as a writer are things only a great person in that field could do. You need to separate the image of Shuho that he left you with from the image of the author that people who didn't know him have. If you can't reconcile that, you'll keep on feeling angry and sad.
そんなこと分かってます。分かってるけど。
Rin trails off at the end. But I know what she meant to say. You don't understand. I know what I've lived. My truth. You can do it. He looks up at me again. I still have time. We'll be fine. I took my preachy talk from yesterday on board and showed me just how much she grew in a matter of days. You're sweet, honest, and young. I'm sure you'll grow into a wonderful woman. So, it's fine. I know you can overcome this. But looking at me, she giggles. Unsure what to make of it, I only stare.
先生って意外に女心が分かってない。
Oh no, no, no. Oh no, no, no. Well, that's true. I mean, he did end up in a loveless marriage after all.
私強情だと思いますよ。
Slowly, he exudes a lot more confidence. Does it look like a girl being reprimanded anymore? But a woman.
だから今日先生を誘ったの。
Sorry, I tried to interpret something here right now.
私の言ってることわかる？
I think upon her words for a long moment.
私嫌なんです。先生に子供扱いされるの。
Alright, I want to hear the line.
あと先生の中で他の人に負けるのも嫌。
She has a confident, bewitching smile on her face. My eyes are drawn to it, like moths to a flame.
私の行動に父の影を感じ取られるなんて耐えられない。だから畑の修法とは無関係に私の稼いだお金でもう一度振る舞いたかったの。素直に負けを認められない強情でしょ。
It's not a rhetorical question. Her sharp, almost icy stare seems to pierce through me. I see. She tilts her head to the side, waiting for me to keep going. Okay. I'll remember that. I won't treat you like a kid anymore. You're not my student when we're here. I'll try to put that out of my mind. Alright. Please. Rin's smile slowly widens. Thank you for the dinner. It was delicious. By the way, why did the music disappear? Is something about to happen? Alright, let's go.
よかったです。
So, next week. She raises her eyebrows and looks at me curiously. Can I spend the night here? Night there? Sorry, there! Wait, I was so ready for here that I said here instead of there. Sorry. Okay, we're too early for that. We're too early for that.
泊まる？あそこにですか？
I nod. It's almost summer break, so thought myself. What am I going to do? What am I gonna do during the break? Edit the manuscript I wrote? Write something new altogether?
問題はないんですけど。
Her eyes wander for a moment, but then they settle on me.
お風呂場だけは使わないでください。入るのもやめてください。あそこに入るのは死というものに足を踏み入れるのと同じ気がして。それだけ約束してくれるなら。
Okay. I give her a firm nod. I promise.
わかりました。
But wait, if I'm gonna be spending my whole time in one place, where am I gonna use the restroom then? Anyway. Thanks. After putting on my shoes, I turn to her. Well, I guess this is it.
また
Hmm?
また作ってもいいですか？夕食。
I looked down at her, at a loss for words. I looked down obviously bashful. I respond with a firm nod. I love that. I look up again, beaming at her. Wait, where is I? He looks up again, beaming at me. But next time, let's go shopping together. I'll pay.
はい。じゃあ明日は一緒に。
Tomorrow. Immediately tomorrow. And not again.
おやすみなさい。
Yeah, you too. I remember the first time we spoke. Back then, I thought that I shouldn't get closer than necessary to one of my students. But now, she's been making dinner for me in her own apartment. Perhaps I changed without even realizing it myself. Yes, I must have changed. Just like the fathers I saw today in the diner turned into a family men at some point. I'm changing so gradually that I'm not even aware of it. I started writing a novel again, divorced my wife, and I'm reading the diaries of a dead man. It's such a huge change. And it all began with my encounter with Rin. That rainy day we shared an umbrella under the cold downpour. It was the day of the funeral for the old seminary teacher. That was present on the day we met too. We met in the wake of a death, and came together again over the death of another person, Hatano Shuho. If this was a novel, naturally, the final destination of her character would be death. That way, the story would feature death in all 3 acts. I laughed to myself. I see now. If I were headed towards death, then my life would almost be like a story. Oh, he has a... Oh, yeah, the editor did have like that comment about like he has that fixation about like wanting... He felt like his life... He wanted his life to act like a story. As I opened my eyes, I met with an already familiar white ceiling. Yonagi? I slowly raised myself up. Yonagi does the same over in her bed.
おはよう。食事にしますか？先に本読みに行きたいな。
A book?
うん。
Like a picture book?
小説。
Yonagi shakes her head. A novel? Okay.
いいえ、小説はありません。
Were there any in the recreation room? I saw a bunch of the picture books.
施設内の蔵書にあるかもしれません。持ってきます。
Where can we get some? There might be some in the facilities library. I will fetch them.
作者と題名は、
Yonagi nods. I need an author and title. I guess Rashomon by Ryunosuke Akutagawa. Izuma doesn't bring us one of the slim pocketbooks that appeared in my dreams. Instead, he returns with a complete compilation of Ryunosuke Akutagawa's works, one of which is Rashomon. The book is as heavy as a portable computer. Yonagi opens it on her lap and reads slowly. I watch Yonagi as she reads.
好き。
Her gaze lightly glides over the sea of small letters printed across the pages of the large book. You like books? Yeah, I like them.
いいよ。
I see. Wait, I think there's something wrong. It's loading as Yonagi when in fact this should be like... Let me see what's going on here.
いいよ。カイトとお話しするのも好き。
It's okay. I like talking with you too.
うん。なんとなく。
Yonagi doesn't take her eyes off the thick dome as she speaks.
文字を追いかけてるだけでもなんか楽しい。
Wait a second. There's something wrong with the text. I'm listening to I'm listening to her voice, and it sounds different from what I'm reading. Yeah, kind of.
一緒に読む？
I see.
いいよ。
Yanagi nods and raises her face. It's okay. I sit next to her, follow the sentences together with her. The paper has a yellow tint to it, and the text is dotted with characters I don't recognize. It's immediately apparent that this is a really old book. I take a glance at her profile. She's zealously going word by word, even if she doesn't understand them all.
お腹すいた。
Wait, she literally just said she was hungry, and then the text doesn't follow what she's saying. I follow her example, let my eyes take in words weaved by a man named Ryunosuke Akutagawa. Then she says, I'm hungry. What the hell? Why is the text delayed by like one? Yeah, it's delayed. Do you want to go eat something? We go to the dining room and Izumo prepares the usual meal. Yanagi and I sit at our usual spots and pick up our spoons.
うん。
I silently glance at Yanagi as she eats. I'm not imagining things. Her intelligence, cognitive abilities, and judgment faculties are improving. It seems that her preferences are somehow linked to the personality of the person that appears in our dreams. Are we seeing Yanagi's memories or something? After the meal, Yanagi takes a shower and goes back to bed. It doesn't seem like she needs Izumo's constant help anymore. As time goes by, she can do more things by herself.
カイトもシャワーを浴びますか？
Yeah, I guess I will.
着替えの用意はしておきます。
Will the next dream be a continuation of the last one? Izumo nods.
今の夢が結末にたどり着いた時にもう一度夢を選び直すことになる。今度は残りの2種類から選ぶことになります。
Alright, I'll take a shower and go back to sleep. Izumo nods solemnly and leaves the room with Webtoon. What time am I going to sleep? It's 1 a.m. now. Continue. We have 3 more days of class left in the semester, including today. After that, the graduation ceremonies will be held at the start of the next week. As the week goes by, the only thing I look forward to is dinner with Ren every night. Also, I'm finally seeing an end to the number of diaries that Shuho left behind. The mountain of already read diaries is far bigger than what I have left. Soon his death will come. How did he portray himself just before the end? How did he express his state of mind? I'll decide what I want to write after reading all of his diaries. Do I want to fix the novel that Rin pushed back, or write something completely different? I'm trying not to think about that right now. I'm focusing all of my attention on capturing the man that Hatano Shuho really was. To be honest, I wish I could spend every waking minute poring over his words. I just want to take a deep dive into his mind and understand his depths. But still, I come here every day. Each morning, I grapple with the self-hatred I feel, and despair at the fact that I still haven't changed. I stop by home. I'll be staying at Shuho's studio for the next 3 days. I want to do something similar to what he did, living and working in that cramped space. I pull my dusty duffel bag out of the closet and pack a few change of clothes. Rather than stay cooped up in this dead house, I'd rather be in that studio. I can't even breathe comfortably in this place anymore. The sense of death is more marked the deeper I read into his diaries. Perhaps that's only because I already know he dies at the end. No, not quite. All of us are dying, whether we're aware of it or not. And how conscious are we of our imminent demise? That's the problem. Shuho was definitely heading towards that with his own hand. Knowing that death lay ahead, he kept on walking straight onward, and it can be felt in his writing. The grim impression I get from his writing is at its peak now that those intentions are at the forefront. It can't be compared to any of his novels. If I think of those diaries as a part of his bibliography, as that would be the grand finale. How did Shuho arrive at this point? How did he lose all possible roads besides death? I want to see it. I grab my bag and leave the room. I look back at the quiet house. That used to be my home. Now I can barely stand to be there. Every day I come back here, and I feel like this isn't the place where I belong. I feel itchy and wrong. This isn't my home. Now that I'm aware of it, it's painful to remain. For a moment, a thought crosses my mind. Perhaps this is the last time I'll ever come here. It's an alluring delusion on my part. It could be it. I could be abandoning the boring tedium of daily life and go somewhere to never return. Maybe beyond that, I could meet the same fate as Shuha, or a calm, sweet daily life with Rin. I turn my back on the empty house, the thoughts cycling through my mind as I walk on ahead. I put my bag on the floor and sit at Shua's desk like usual. My heart feels at ease again. It feels very much like smoking a cigarette after a long while without one. I chuckled to myself. Didn't you hate Hadana Shuha? That's what my ex-wife said to me. Now I'm addicted to his writing. No, I'm enthralled by the person himself. I start reading from where I left off yesterday. Shuha himself seemed to be addicted to the bafflement he caused in those around him. I chuckled at myself again. We're becoming closer little by little. At first, I was taken aback by his almost childish impulsiveness. But now, even that of the attitude from Shuo seems sacred. To think that someone with such huge influence would use it on such trivial things. It makes his innocence stand out all the more. And it seems to me his devoted followers, faithfully going along with it every whim, were performing some kind of ritual. I see. I understand how he felt now. This was his way to free himself from the yoke of society. I take a deep breath and turn the page. I'm freeing myself from the yoke of society. It's written right there. The very same sentence I was thinking of right there on the page. Out of pure surprise, I checked the cover. This is Shua's diary. It's not mine. Crack a smile. I'm so happy. Feels so good. Shuo and I are of one mind right now. Perhaps the smile on my face isn't mine. Maybe it's Shuo's. I'm lovingly tracing my fingers across his words. I feel strangely nostalgic, like I can touch his mind through the faint memories in his writing. A warm feeling fills my chest, but it's not enough yet. I need to show this to the world. My heart is one with his, but I remain chained to the yoke he sought to fight off. I must fight it off. What's written on the paper. Again and again, filling the whole page. Fight it off. I mutter the words, and that's what he says. They're also my words. I must fight it off. This time, I say it clearly in my own words. That's it. Fight it off. It's what it's all about. You fight it off. I receive the usual invitation from Rin and go down to the entrance. And just like always, he's already waiting for me. Hey there.
こんばんは。
Recently, we've been going grocery shopping together and eating the food she makes at her place.
今日は商店街の方に行ってみますか。この前食事をしに行ったカフェがある商店街なら学校の人はほとんどいないです。
I respond with a hearty nod. Yeah, let's do that. We visit a shopping district pretty far away from campus. We walk side by side.
今日からそこに泊まるんですよね。
Yeah, I brought what I need. I did a search, and there's a public bath I can use nearby.
そうなんですね。
You're making curry again today?
さすがにそろそろ変えましょうよ。昨日も食べたじゃないですか。
Family store. Well, they want to avoid Family Mart, but okay. I notice a faint tinge of exasperation in her playful tone and nod. All right. As we walk, we pass by a fishmonger with a bunch of fish on display in styrofoam containers and ice. The cheerful shopkeep calls out to us.
あ、魚だな。 今日は最高のアジがあるよ。刺身で食えるよ。娘さんに食わせてやんなよ。
Gee, man, that shit's good. Fuck. A bitter smile spreads on my face.
ほらほらほら、アジの旬は夏だよ。スーパーの死んだ魚みたいな飯したやつは別物なんだから。これも死んだ魚だけどよ。
Thinking back on it, I remember seeing Rin eat aji at the cafeteria before. You like mackerel?
アジ？考えたことなかったな。まあ嫌いじゃないと思いますけど。
I walk up to the man. So, aji, it does make for good sashimi.
おう、一匹100円。
Oh shit, that is cheap. Holy shit. Do you know how much aji is? Well, when I get it from a fancy sushi restaurant isn't a good comparison, I guess. But like, well, obviously it's gonna be cheaper in Japan. So like, 100 yen each. You don't keep the lights on with those prices, do you?
いいよ、やってやっても赤字だけどな。
I don't argue with that. I look back at her. Mind if I use the kitchen today? Looking slightly puzzled, she nods. I think I'll take 2 then.
ああ、200円な。
I pull out my wallet and pay the man.
ちょっと。
A tinge of confusion flashes through his face. What's wrong? He's just buying 2. What the fuck? Or is it because the fact he asked Rin, so it feels like it's a weird thing. Yeah, I think he overheard it, so it obviously will be like alarming. I turn to him and put on my best Riri smile. She's the daughter of a friend who passed away. Nothing fishy going on. That's what they all say. That's what they all say. The man nods, placated, if unconvinced, as he puts 3 aji into a plastic bag. I blow out the breath and nod. Well, he's not wrong about that. I like how he gave him a 3rd one for free. Holy shit.
なんで3尾？
The 3rd one's a bonus.
どうして？
Who knows? Maybe aji doesn't sell that well.
そうなの？
It's not tasty looking like tuna or what the fuck is porgy? What the fuck is porgy? It's not quite in season like mackerel pike. Okay, I don't know what the Japanese for mackerel pike. But it's always a solid choice. You can boil it, roast it, eat it raw, and it'll always taste good. You can never go wrong with it in a Japanese meal. Food. Rin nods as she looks down at the bag of fish I'm carrying.
この切り身になっていないお魚は一体どうすればいいんですか？
Okay, guys, I think I have to call it. It's not because I want to stop reading. It's more like my body only has a certain limit. I can already feel my body. It's like my body stopped trying to go further. It's been a couple of days of deprivation. Yesterday was like I had to wait for Kirito to clear SAO, and then for some reason I couldn't sleep for the next 3 hours. Fuck. All right. Okay, you know what? I really want to continue reading this tomorrow. I'll switch. I'll not do this Saturday Night Daydream on Saturday. I'll just do full rewrite. In exchange, tomorrow I'll be finishing at least case 1 tomorrow, and maybe get started with case 2. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy watching, and we'll have more of this tomorrow. Promise you guys, we'll read this tomorrow. Then Saturday we'll do. If I'm lucky, I could finish Lucia's route Saturday, and if lucky, I could start Hizuru's route. But we'll see. Anyway, I'll see you guys. Ciao.